Good morning, everyone. KJ here. I hope everyone had a great weekend. Today is day 14 in testimony in the Lori Daybell trial. We all have had a weekend to kind of absorb everything. I want to thank all the Rays who showed up on Saturday for us to go over a few theories. Good morning, Elizabeth Collier, Leslie Hagerman, Bullseye, Just DD, Marvin, Kelly Cantrell, Kim Nix, Vix Tex, Zoe Archer, Marilyn Landis, Emeka Cream, Denise, Dog Mom, April Gann, Katara, Olivia Heatley, Leanne Jordan, J.M. Rudd, Jeff H., Chris Arnett, Marvin, Anna Brown. Good morning, everybody. Dana Gober, Gloria Fritz, Maria P., Zenaida Rivera, Sugar Butt Starburst. I hope your husband's doing okay. Roxy, Just Looking, Angela, Beverly, Mary Metal, Angela L., True Court and Crime Junkie, Jody Allen, Bryn Marshall, Diamond Eyes, Pam Collins, Tara Deepa, International Nikki, Julie Thompson, Marilyn Pastor, Elba Lopez, Arona Z. Good morning, everybody. Today is Candance's birthday. Candance, if you're on here or you listen, I want you to know I love you. Happy birthday. I just want you to know that you're the best of the best. We are here. It's Monday, and we're back in the Ada County Courthouse for week 5 of the Lori Daybell murder trial. We expect to have more witnesses called by the prosecutor today, says Nate Eaton. And let's just remember, Rays, if you see a question in here that you know the answer, please help OKJ out. Also, if we get any bots or we get any kind of crappy comments in here, just ignore it, report it, or block it. So please, I'd appreciate that. Good morning, Barbara Hamilton. Angela, happy birthday, Candance. A beautiful, beautiful friend. She sure is. So, okay, Sugar Butt Starburst. I'm glad he's okay though. I really am. I've been thinking about you, thinking about him. Lori Daybell just entered the courtroom. She's wearing a maroon top with a black jacket and black dress pants. She's chatting and she's laughing with her attorneys. The prosecutors and defense attorneys are sitting at their tables, and John Pryor, Chad Daybell's attorney, just walked in the courtroom, said a few things to John Thomas, y'all. That's one of Lori's attorneys, and then he just left the courtroom. Wonder if he's getting with Archie and Thomas there on how he's gonna get his damn client out of trouble. I don't think so, y'all. I don't think so. Now, the bailiff reminds everyone in the courtroom about their conduct and the conduct order that's in place. No recording of cell phones, no photos, and no food. Good morning, Billy. Good morning, all of y'all. MM, Bullseye. We've got some people on here wishing you a happy birthday, Candance. We sure do love you. Hello, Ran-Handed. How are you? Betsy's Barn. ABZE, Beverly, Renee, Harley 62. Good morning, y'all. I hope everyone's rested up for a week of testimony. We're going to see what happens. Some of the Rays remember this, but every year, OKJ has this big, huge fish fry the first Saturday of May. So this weekend was very busy for OKJ, having to clean things. Y'all saw me with the fishing pole, using the Swiffer on the ceilings. I got to get this place cleaned up. Y'all know last week I didn't have a whole lot of time to do all that. Brought in my housekeeper and also some landscapers over the weekend. Also went out to my son Andrew's, and we're putting up a 2-car garage there. And so it's been a real busy weekend. And I'm going to share the fish fry with the Rays on here. You know, we're going to have everything from smoked barbecue to fish and hush puppies and all those southern desserts and all of that stuff. I'm looking forward to it. And again, I'm going to share it with all of you. So here we go, y'all. We have no idea. We have no idea who is going on the stand this week. Many have talked about Melanie Pulaski. We're trying to wonder whether or not the state really is doing what they're supposed to be doing by bringing in this Utah medical examiner. I hope this happens. But many people have told me that this might be something they're just trying to get by on and saving it for Chad's trial. Remember, y'all, Thursday, Chad has a scheduling conference to get his trial date. And he can take that trial date and shove it so far up his damn wazoo that it winks at him. Because Chad Daybell is screwed. Hello there, Lisa Taglaboo. I want to see evidence with Tammy, says Lisa. Hi from Idaho Falls, says Stacy Cox. Yeah, and a lot of people have been waiting. Hello, Language of Horses. Vintage Mom of 3. Do you think Garth is coming soon? They seal the witness list. The only thing that we have to go by is the grand jury witness list. If you'll go back and look at that witness list, there's a lot of people that have already testified. I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, 46 witnesses so far have testified. Can y'all believe it? It don't seem like it's been that many, but it has. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Okay, y'all. Judge Boyce has entered the courtroom and is on the bench. Jurors are being brought in. Good morning, Tina Reddington. I hope you had a good weekend with, that peanut butter drink of yours. I bet it was scrumptious. Hello. What is the history of the fish fry, Betsy's Barn? Well, it's, everyone and their mama from the county, all family, and people from the county come over here. Serious food, live music, the whole 9 yards. Many of the Rays have been on this channel for over 2 years. They've seen me sit on a screen here with a bowl of chicken and dumplings. So, and I ate it in front of the Rays. I was rubbing it in. They understand that I'm just playing with them. Yeah, Betsy's Barn, remember that? It's the first Saturday of May every year. And I'm looking forward to it, getting together with family, extended family, people out in the community, because OKJ doesn't think of a neighbor as someone who lives just right on your road or right next door. A neighbor is everyone. And so we invite everybody, and it's some serious eating and some serious fellowshipping. That's what I call it, fellowshipping. Yes, Roxy, and I'll tell you, Rays, if any of y'all on here, if there was any way, I'd love to have everybody come to the fish fry. It's kind of hard to do that because you got to keep your privacy and all that, but I'd love to have all of y'all there. Amica cream, we do catfish and whiting. And then we have this man comes in. He brings this great big kettle. It sits on the ground. It's about, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 feet tall. It's an old kettle. And what he does is he fills it up with peanut oil. And then he takes a whole washed potato with skin and all and puts it in the oil so that when he gets the oil nice and hot, that the fish doesn't stick. And he breads the fish right there. He drops it in there, and it'll make you, the old euphemism, make you want to slap your mama. It's so good. It's absolutely a beautiful, beautiful day with food and friends and family. Yes, Sheila Forrest, I have had crawfish. I went down to Louisiana, and Kay and Larry Woodcock and Cresha and Jason and their extended family invited me over for a crawfish bowl. Never been to one. We're talking live crawfish brought in. I mean, they went down, they did the whole 9 yards. Wayne and I were so humbled that they would go through all that. Most importantly, spending time with them in the backyard, enjoying a day with them, not talking about this case, just just being there with the family members and stuff. So it was a lot of fun, and the crawfish was, I learned how to do it. You know, you had your corn on the cob and all that stuff. It was delicious. And it's a moment and a memory I'll never forget as long as I live. It was wonderful. Nita Smith, whiting is a type of fish. You probably have to look it up. All I can say is it's a type of fish. It's really good. Some people prefer catfish. Now, the catfish fillets do not have bones in them. We get them out of Murfreesboro, Tennessee. These are the same people that supply I guess what you call the highfalutin restaurants in the southeast region. So no bones in the catfish, and the whiting is good too. The DNA analyst is on the stand. Here we go. Madison County Prosecuting Attorney Rob Wood says the next witness will be Keely Coleman. She is a senior DNA analyst at Bode Technology in Virginia. Wood will be questioning her. And thank you for all you that's kind of keeping me on the, moving forward. I'm blabbing my mouth too much, I think. But I just appreciate that, because this is not something that you go, I'm doing what I can do here. Yeah, Miss DMC, DNA, yeah. Wonder what we're going to find out, y'all. What are we going to find out? You got Jenny Benny saying, yeah, ooh, DNA. We're going to find out something, y'all. DNA will slam the damn door shut. I pray they find Lori and Chad's DNA, says Molly's mom. Will they find Chad's DNA, says Jenny Benny. Marilyn Landis says, interesting. We need something groundbreaking. DNA all the way, says Marvin. Shut the front door, says Roxy. Now, Keely Coleman explains her educational background and the training she's received for her job. Stacy B, yep, hope under the fingernails there's DNA. Good morning, Miss DMC. Molly's mom, Vic's text, says suspense. Yeah, Tracy Howard, there's a mixed bag there when it comes to summer shiflet. Hopefully on a brick for Lori's sale, says Kale. Sharon says, hi from the bush in South Africa. Good morning, Jax. Yeah, I would too, NF Mom. A lot of people on this channel over the last year and a half, we knew that they were in the same building, that not in the same office, but under the same roof at one point. And I always believed they were kind of getting with each other. Obviously, that's nothing wrong with that, because there was a conspiracy to commit murder, co-defendants. And so, but what is it? Comparing notes. Well, I'll tell you something. John Pryor has come every day at some point or another in this trial, and I'm sure he's taken notes, or mental notes anyway, that his client better take a plea deal. Because come this Thursday, when they give him a trial date, John Pryor ain't going to be able to wimp his way out of, we're not ready, we're not ready. John Pryor is going to have to move forward on this, and make no mistake, y'all. John Pryor is a bulldog of a defense attorney. He knows the questions to ask. We got a little sample of that at Chad's preliminary hearing. This ain't going to be no Archie or John Thomas type of clarification or insinuations. John Pryor is going to go for the jugular. You better believe it. Beverly says Chad Daybell will plea. Yeah, I do too, Emily in Boston. I hope they will have cameras in the courtroom for Chad's trial. Yes, Yes, exactly, Stacy B. That's why John Pryor's sitting there watching the state. Elizabeth Gregory says, I need a foundation, says John Pryor. Yeah. Pryor's our only hope of holding cult members' feet to the fire, says Leanne Jordan. Great point. Great point. Now, Keely Coleman has processed thousands of DNA samples as an analyst and has participated 20 times in proficiency testing. Bode, where Coleman works, has been performing DNA testing since it was established in 1985. Tracy Howard, yes, the state would be them sitting down with the state in terms of a plea deal. And I imagine the state would have to get with the victim's family members. Let's also continue to keep Cresha K. Easton of Difficult Research in our thoughts and prayers. If you don't know her channel, you can go and subscribe. It's under Difficult Research. Also, the rest of the victim's family members. Beverly, the part of the plea deal you think is that Chad would testify? Who wants to believe a damn word that son of a bitch has to say? Come on, y'all. Nobody's going to think he's credible. Just as I believe Lori's going on the stand, I just want to hear her get up there and pull a Jodi Arias. She's going to lie through her damn teeth. The bottom line is they're not credible. And these cult members, it's a damn shame, but they're not credible either, in my opinion. But these jurors have got to take it for whatever it is. Now, Wood asked Coleman to describe DNA, and Coleman says the biological material that makes each person unique and is found in almost every cell of your body. You get half of your DNA from your mom and half from your dad. 99% of DNA is the same among individuals, but 1% is unique among individuals, and that's the DNA we're looking at. Hi, Liza Joe. Good morning, Ivy. Well, thank you. For those that are just new here, thank you so much. But remember this, it ain't what old KJ's got to say. The rays on here, their comments, it fits the pieces together. KJ doesn't know it all and never will know it all. I'll spend my life looking at whatever, learning and all this. The rays have helped old KJ and educated me tremendously. So just remember, y'all, those comments are just as important. Good morning, it's just Robbie. One of the conditions Chad's plea should be to admit an open court tallies cause of death, says John Combs. That's called an allocution, and I doubt that will ever happen. And even if Lori and Chad came out and said this is exactly what happened, could anyone believe a damn word they say? And by the way, the other cult members, did you not notice how much they distanced themselves from everything? You think Chad and Lori is going to kind of rear back if they were to testify about what their involvement in any of this is? They're not going to tell the truth. Now, Rob Wood asked Coleman if controls are used in DNA testing. She says 2 controls are used. A positive control, which is a known DNA profile, and a negative control is all of the chemicals you're using in the biological procedures, but they have no DNA added to it. So we're learning something. Many of us have learned enough about forensics. Me, myself, I don't know a whole lot, but there are many on the channel that know a lot about this DNA and stuff like that. I think it's fascinating. I think that technology and what they're able to do now is absolutely, it's a miracle, really. Corey H., I guess generally speaking, Garth, any of the other Daybell children. I think it kind of speaks volumes to me when they did, after the fact of what you're talking about, went on national TV, and they were all pretty much into an agreement that Lori and Alex framed their daddy. So that tells me everything I need to know, but I understand what you're saying. When you look back on it now and you see the behaviors of Chad's children or anyone involved in this case, it just looks more suspicious. Diamond Eye says a pulmonary embolism can be used by injecting air. Rowan to you says, how would this DNA testing relate to Tammy Daybell? We don't know yet what they've tested. I mean, I don't know that. I mean, I guess they could get samples from under Tammy Daybell's fingernails or something to that degree. But even then, y'all, she was married to Chad Daybell. So if his DNA was there, that could be wrote off. But say they tested under her fingernails and it was Alex Cox who was parked up the road at the church. How would Alex's DNA get on Tammy? You see what I'm saying? Now, Coleman describes what a DNA profile is and what a partial DNA profile is. She says Bode Technology received information from the Rexburg Police Department about the Daybell case. She asked to refer to her notes, and Boyce says that's okay as long as the defense can review them. John Thomas is looking over Coleman's notes. Right, dodging bullets. Chad, I mean, he's a liar through and through. Here's a man that says that, he's rolled over in the bed and somehow he knows that her leg got twisted in the sheet. Give me a break. Give me a break. Boyce says Coleman needs to testify from personal memory and she can refer to her notes, but she can't read them. Now listen up, everyone. Coleman says in May of 2022, she received 3 DNA profiles from Lori, Tylee, and Melanie Gibb. She also received several items of evidence, including a hair attached to an adhesive. So here we are, y'all. We're fixing to find out. First of all, she's got 3 DNA profiles for Lori, Tylee, and Melanie. But what she's asked to test is she received several items of evidence, including a hair attached to an adhesive. So perhaps we know the hair is attached to the adhesive, but there's several other items as well. This, obviously, y'all, has to do with JJ in terms of adhesive. So that's common sense. Astra says Lori's hair. Julie Thompson says, please, Father, let it be there. Coleman says a portion of the hair was put into a test tube. It went through a series of washes to get rid of any extraneous DNA on the hair. We are trying to focus on the hair, says Coleman. Additional chemicals were added to the sample, and it then went through heat and cool samples. Coleman says, we determined how much DNA was in the sample and then made lots and lots of copies. We got Molly's mom with her fingers crossed. Language of Horses says this better be it. Missy Cass says that'll be the smoking gun. Good morning, Ellie. We're fixing to find out, Roxy. I can't make Nate tweet any quicker. I'm doing the best we can do here. Let's hope hair has a root, says Donna Shute. Lisa Fisher says it's Lori's. Good morning, Norma. I am looking at the tweet. I'm refreshing it. The partial DNA profile matched the DNA profile provided for Lori Daybell, y'all. The probability of randomly selecting a random individual in relation to that profile is 1 in 71 billion. This hair belonged to Lori. And how in the hell? How did her hair get on that tape that was on JJ? Y'all, this connects her. I already said I really believe she put that blue blanket on him. And in order to do that, the order of concealment, she had to lay that blanket down and on top of whatever she was seeing, which is the tape. Can y'all believe this? Proof, says Yin Yang. She taped JJ, says Karen Holland. Oh my God. Y'all, Wood has no further questions, and John Thomas is now questioning Coleman. And y'all know if this DA here, this dumbass, he's probably going to say, well, that was JJ's mother. You could have picked, there's a possibility that her hair in the house or wherever, or Alex's apartment, says Lori. How in the hell? If Lori wants to say the kids were at Alex's apartment, how do you get hair on the duct tape, y'all? This woman is evil. This woman is diabolical, y'all. Her hair is on the duct tape. How does that happen? How does that happen? What, if floating around in the air? Maria P says smoking gun. I can't believe this, y'all. This is linking Lori to the duct tape of her own child there. Can y'all believe this shit? Can y'all believe it? Good morning, Amari. Can y'all believe this? Amy and Boston says this goes to conspiracy. Bye-bye, Lori. I can't believe it, y'all. Language of Horses says guilty of sin. John Thomas asked Coleman about her educational background and the standards Bode must follow to be an accredited agency. Valerie Moore says finally proof. Shandy says that's why Lori's bedroom was locked. I guess Melanie Gibb didn't want to knock on the door because she knew something was going on in there. Don't y'all agree? I can't believe this. Again, for those just joining us, this DNA woman whose name is Keely Coleman has just testified that that was Lori's hair on the duct tape, y'all. I mean, what more does these jurors need? I was so bummed out when they only found Alex's thumbprint and palm print on the black plastic. I wanted so bad for Lori and Chad to be linked to the actual murder and the concealment, alteration, and destruction of those children. And I feel like in some circumstantial ways, which circumstantial evidence is just as important as direct. But folks, we have direct evidence now. Lori's hair was on the duct tape. Right, Missy Cat. The death penalty's been taken off the table. They should damn take her butt to death row. Paula, a DNA expert, was just on the stand. The state just got that DNA expert to say they tested a hair that was on the adhesive, and it was Lori's. It was Lori's hair, y'all. I'm waiting. I sure hope so, Yin Yang, our channel poet. Chad's DNA under JJ's fingernails. I've been praying. I have been praying. I don't want these people to have to not be able to say anything other than the evidence itself is so factual and such a smoking gun that it proves. You know, we've got the conspiracy part where they don't have to do an overt act. If Alex did one overt act in the furtherance of the conspiracy, Lori can still be convicted. I'm just saying they've got to prove the first-degree murder charge against her. Maria P., when Nate Eaton came into the courtroom this morning, he said Lori was in there smiling and chatting with her attorneys. I don't think she's laughing right now. I do not think she's laughing right now or chatting with her attorneys. We're waiting for John Thomas to continue to cross-examine Keely Coleman, a DNA worker at a DNA lab that's been open since 1995. That's a good theory there, LWLW. Maybe John Pryor knew this was coming and went in there to say something to John Thomas. Dodging bullets is down into the abyss, hussy. Okay, now listen up, y'all. So it's understood Lori's hair was stuck on a piece of duct tape used to wrap JJ. There's your evil, diabolical woman who would do such a thing to a child. To do that to JJ. I see it no other way. I see it no other way. It's incredible. 666, says Kim Richardson. Guilty, says Daughter of Scotland. Betsy B says, thank you, God. Amy in Boston says, Hussy's going down. Julie Thompson says, there it is. What a wonderful day, guys, says Harley 62. Right, Birdie. Lori took so much time, you know, her being a hairdresser and all. She had to make sure to do her little unicorn ponytail at pretrial hearings. Now, and then she gets into the ringlet stuff. She takes such good care of her hair, but now the hair is going to take her ass out. Poetic justice, says Dodging Bullets. So we're waiting on a refresh, y'all. Guilty on all counts, says Dyer's on fire. Bye-bye, Lori, and don't let the door hit you before the Lord splits you, says Brick Marshall. Good one. Tina Olson says, finally, direct evidence. Stephanie B says, Larry, Kay, and Crusher must be so relieved to be hearing this testimony. Artie and AC says, the hairdresser's nightmare. Four Smurfs says, JJ is speaking for himself. Good morning, CSI, Crowdsourced Illuminations. She was present, says Stacy B. All those feet of duct tape. I'm waiting. I'm sitting here refreshing continuously, y'all. Good morning, Leslie Armstrong. They didn't think that, did they, Angela? They didn't think they'd get caught. Good morning, Miss Vixen. Good morning, Norma. I'm sitting here refreshing. Julie Thompson says, lifting up Kay, Larry, and Crusher in my prayers. This has to be hard. Maria P says, I've waited for years to hear this. I'm almost in tears. Amari Cohen says she's guilty. CHP says, I think Thomas is shocked. But y'all just remember this. The state had to turn over their discovery. There are no Perry Mason moments per se. They knew that the state would present this because not only does the discovery get turned over, but the state has to let them know basically what is the content of each witness's testimony. So although we've seen it on TV, these Perry Mason moments, the bottom line is they sure better damn prepare to tell the jury why it is that Lori's hair is on duct tape. Bismo Funyuns, a DNA expert, a Keely Coleman, is testified just now as a state's witness saying that they tested a hair that was on the duct tape and it came back Lori's. Sugar Butt Starburst says, I would really like to see Lori's face right now. Dodging Bullets says, no one else is just Lori's. Good point, Dodging Bullets. I'm sitting here refreshing, y'all. Gloria Fritz says, my heart is pounding. Yes, Bismo Funyuns. I mean, can't you? I mean, that would be a healthy inference. That would be a healthy inference. We're going to have to see how the defense is going to try to handle this. Again, let's just recap this. Nate Eaton says it, so it's understood. Lori's hair was stuck on a piece of duct tape used to wrap JJ, y'all. It don't get more damning than that. Yes, needs some Z's. Lori would be aware. She gets to look at all the discovery. She would have, and most definitely, there would have been a report showing Lori's DNA excluding 70 billion or million or whatever. The bottom line is how's she going to talk her way out of that? Katara says, so Lori was on the tape and Alex was on the bag. Well, I'll tell you, Katara, if you look at the 404B evidence, which is evidence of prior bad acts, it was always Lori and Alex all the way back. It was Charles. I mean, they didn't bring in really anything major about Joseph Ryan. But this doesn't relieve Chad Daybell of his culpability. I'm waiting, y'all. He hasn't done anything yet. Tylee, JJ, and Tammy did not deserve what happened to them, says Moose Girl. That's right. Nobody would. Nobody deserves that. Beach Lady says defense will say it's JJ's mom's hair and would have been with JJ. That's probably what he's going to say. But if you take into totality everything that's been testified thus far, what are you going to, is that a reasonable doubt that Lori's hair on that duct tape was anything other than the evil plan they had? That it just so happened to get there? Kelly Fitzgerald says John Thomas will say the aliens landed there and did it. Lisa Fisher says it was done in Lori's home, bottom line. And I'm not so sure about JJ, but I feel like Tylee was in Lori's apartment at the time that all that went down. Good morning, Carla Bergenson. Denise says, it really ties her, I think. Y'all, I'm continually refreshing this. So, Janelle Murphy makes a good point. It could have been done in Alex's apartment and Lori was there. Private 91 says, wonder how beautiful Lori thinks she is now. Okay, here we go. John Thomas asked what the FBI requires of Coleman for DNA to go into the national database for testing. And she responds they require 20 characteristics. I'm sure John Thomas will say, well, I saw on a movie, I saw on CSI or Law and Crime or something. I seen this about DNA. But really, y'all, the way he's asking questions, it's almost like he's taking a crash course in DNA. He's here to poke holes in that damning evidence, y'all. Vix Tech says, I can't wiggle out of this one. Amy Long makes a good point. If this was just a hair of Lori's, that just would have been there because JJ was around Lori all the time, why only one hair? And how does that hair get on the duct tape in the moments of doing what they did to JJ? That's a good point. Donna Donald, they found a hair on the duct tape and they tested it and it's Lori's. Voodoo Girl says it's a goddess hair. You just have to kind of visualize, how would a hair of Lori's get on that duct tape? Nobody wants to picture it, but when you're thinking about what they did to him, the question is, if Alex was always around, why aren't they finding hair of Alex's on the duct tape? Why are they finding just Lori's hair on the duct tape? And is it really a stretch, y'all? Is it a stretch at all after everything we know and everything that's been testified? In 14 days of testimony and everything we brought, is it really a stretch to think that Lori was there when the duct tape was all being put on JJ? I'd like to beat that woman senseless. Yeah, you think about that, Norma Guerrera. How can you tear the duct tape at the same time you're trying to do what you're doing? You need somebody there to help you along. Tina Reddington says the length of the hair, KJ, to get enough to test. That's a good point, Tina Reddington. Yes, dodging bullets. I believe that. Someone was there with her. Probably Chud. She was complicit. Arona Z, I've never heard of any neighbors hearing anything out at Chad's or the neighbors in the apartment complex. We've never heard of any evidence of that pre-trial, anything that was released publicly. Perhaps, I don't know, maybe somebody will come to the stand and say, I heard a bunch of stuff next door. That's a good question, Arona Z. Yeah, it would be great if they found Chad's hair. Olivia Smith says hair plus blue blanket, as you said. Bam. I mean, ding, 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 ding. This damn hussy is going down. Vix Tex is talking about one of the neighbors is dead out at Chad's. I think Arona Z was talking about a neighbor say to Alex in the apartment complex. The Rays, remember, we went there. They're right next door to each other. I mean, Melanie Pulaski wasn't moved there yet, but Melanie Pulaski was right next door after the children's murder. But she doesn't See anything weird about her family members, JJ and Tylee, not being around? Some bull crap excuses? Now, Thomas asked Coleman some technical questions about thresholds required for DNA samples and what she would need to perform a test. Lori is closely paying attention during cross-examination and looks back and forth between Coleman and Thomas as questions are being asked and answered. Oh, I'm sure Lori is laser focused in on the fact that her damn nasty ass hair was found on the duct tape. And she's hoping that her attorney will at least put some reasonable doubt or some poking holes or something over what Lori knows in her own heart and mind. She was there, y'all. I believe it. I told y'all this. I know it's just theory and hypothesis for old KJ. But I told y'all that I felt like Lori was there during the time of JJ. I didn't feel like she was there when it happened to Tylee. But I mean, I know these are only just feelings and theories, but I always believe this. And now, folks, now we get proof that her hair is on the duct tape. And how many Rays told KJ in the comments over the last 2 years? Fingerprints, DNA, hair. Remember we had gotten these pre-trial things where John Pryor and Archie and them were fighting over this DNA stuff. There's still stuff out there that needs to be tested. It's just incredible. I don't even know why I'm shocked about it. We all knew that this woman is diabolical. She would do this. She would absolutely do this. Rainy April says, I think she had to see it to believe it. Needs Some Z says, I've always felt like she was there with JJ when that happened. I know Janelle Murphy, and there's a lot of this that many on the channel that's been on here for 2 years, we knew this was coming. But it just to know it's being brought out in court in front of these jurors who's going to decide this damn hussy's fate. It's damning, and I thank God for it. And I hope that they understand that if you weigh a defense attorney saying, well, this hair could have been there because she was the mother of this child, well, damn. You want to use that and say her hair would have been there because she was the mother? Well, what about the mother being there when her children were being murdered? One hand, they want to say, well, her hair could be there because she's the mother, but they refuse to accept that Lori was there when the murdering happened. It's so disingenuous. Right, Norma, give me a break. It's beyond a reasonable doubt, says THX. Right. I mean, I guess the question is, you know, many have said, well, KJ, they don't have a direct link to Lori, but let's just recall Lindsay Blake. She said, you don't have to be the one hands-on to commit first-degree murder. Also, conspiracy to commit murder. But what I'm saying is a lot of people are like, when are they going to link her? Here's the link, y'all. And it's up to the jury to decide the weight of could her hair being there mean this? Or does it mean that she was the mother and surely the hair would have been there? Well, I'll tell you what. Until we heard this now, there hadn't been any testimony at all of Lori's hair in terms of Tylee. Obviously, she was burned up, but and they haven't said anything about JJ until today. Now, a chart is shown on the screen showing 22 different DNA alleles, A-L-L-E-L-E-S, tested on the hair. Coleman says out of the 22, 13 had no result. And Thomas says, that's a lot. So he's trying to break it down to say, okay, tell me your method. Tell me, break this down. And now Thomas is trying to put doubt into all this. So again, a chart is shown on the screen showing 22 different DNA. I guess those are kind of like markers in the DNA tested on the hair. And Coleman says out of the 22, 13 had no result. And then Thomas says, well, the 13 was a lot, wasn't it? Alleles. Okay, thank you, Catherine Kahn. I'm just an old country girl. I appreciate y'all educating me on that. Alleles, that's what they're called. Yes. An allele is one of two or more versions of a DNA sequence, a single base or a segment of bases. At a given genomic location, according to the National Human Genome Research Institute. So that's what an allele is, y'all. It's one of the two or more versions of a DNA sequence at a given genomic location. So if you can kind of picture a chart, I don't know if any of y'all watch these forensic files or whatever, but when they do the DNA sequences, they'll mark those and say these match and these don't, And Thomas is trying to poke holes in this testing on this DNA. Roxy, we don't know if DNA was found under JJ's nails. We don't know. We don't know if the testimony's coming. And thanks again to all of y'all that are answering questions that I can't get to. Okay, now Thomas is done questioning Coleman. Can y'all believe that? Wood has further questions. Wood asked if the hair was tested against known profiles. And Coleman says it was tested against 3 known profiles: Tylee, Melanie Gibb, and Lori. Now let's stop and think, why those 3? It's my opinion, I could be wrong, that this hair must have been blonde and long. Tylee had blonde hair. Lori had long blonde hair at the time. And also Melanie Gibb had blonde hair. And if Lori was coloring her hair, maybe they can come out with that. I don't know. But John Thomas really hasn't got a lot to poke holes at this time because he hasn't said anything else. So that makes sense to me that Coleman says that it was tested against Tylee, Melanie Gibb, and Lori because they were blondes. Yes, Olive Heatley, it is food for thought. Here we go. Coleman says she received the hair sample in a small envelope that was sealed with evidence tape. Coleman says the sample was taken off the adhesive that it was received on, and then a portion was cut and put into a test tube, she says. Coleman says the next step is the sample went through a series of washes. Those series of washes are to wash away any foreign or touch DNA that may have been present on the air in order to isolate the DNA. Thomas objects and says Coleman is rehashing her testimony, and Boyce overrules and allows the testimony. Diamond Eyes, I'm not sure. They cut a portion of it. Again, it has to be blonde hair. And they could have tested it. First, it has to be blonde hair. Then you would think a portion of it, they've got to keep, it's what, consumptive. They don't want to consume it all. They're just going to put a portion in a test tube. Now, Coleman says it has been indicated that the hair had been found on duct tape that was in the presence, y'all. Listen to this. The hair was found on the duct tape that was in the presence of decomposition fluids, y'all. So not only was that a reason to wash it, but think about that hair being on that duct tape during that. Can y'all believe it? Sherilyn Softner says from preliminary tests, they knew the hair was that of a female. That's a good point. Voodoo Girl, I don't think Lori is a natural blonde. I don't think she is. I think she's darker haired like Summer. And we know Lori's hair grew out from, I guess, heavy highlights. Or I don't know if she used highlights or whether she got like the full meal deal. Diamond Eyes says no, she's bleached. Vintage Mama 3 says Lori is brown haired naturally. It is a shock. It is a shock, Ann Gibson, to know that a mother would do this. While Thomas brought up having evidence testing to get DNA into the FBI database, Wood asked Coleman if that was needed in this case, and Coleman says it was not because she was testing a piece of hair against 3 known profiles, not people in the FBI database. So what is it? John Thomas wants her to submit it to the FBI because it could be anybody in the world who's had DNA submitted to the FBI database? Give me a break. It was either Lori, Alex, Chad that did this. The bottom line is I am not surprised if all 3 of them wasn't there at the time they did this to JJ. Wilted lettuce, they found DNA on duct tape on a hair, and it was Lori's hair. That's about as bombshell as it gets. Andrew F., I'm not wigging out about the hair. I just think it's a damn good direct evidence. Kathy Benya says it's a grand slam. Now, Rob Wood asked, your statistics were on whether, this is Lori's hair, is 71 billion, y'all? I mean, how much more confirmation does one need? What exactly does that statistic mean, says Rob Wood. And Coleman says, that means if I were to stick my hand into a hat of DNA profiles, I would expect to see this profile one time and 71 billion times. And Wood has no further questions, and Thomas has no follow-up questions, y'all. And the reason that John Thomas doesn't have any follow-up, because DNA evidence is damning as hell. I mean, he tried to pick at it a bit, but the bottom line is she is screwed. She's screwed. Magnus Nissan Grace says the world population is only 8 billion. Right, dodging bullets. Let's hope they found some kind of DNA or touch DNA on that blue blanket. Archie, they haven't talked about Tyler yet. This was the first witness. The state's coming out of the gate with DNA that links Lori to the duct taping of J.J. Vallow. And it is a damn disgrace. And somebody needs to beat her to death. Beverly, that's correct. Remember I said when the state's witness started saying had a few items to test plus this duct tape? Are we going to hear some more? It seems the state wants the damning stuff right off the bat. This 14th day of testimony, Monday, May 1st. I guess Candance is having a birthday today, and Candance was telling me on a text message, I need a little bit more, KJ. I need to see Lori linked a little bit more. Well, Candance, there you go. Happy birthday, Candance. I love you, honey. I'm telling you, Marilyn Landis. So with the state and the defense not having any further questions on this Keely Coleman, a DNA analyst who just testified over some real damning stuff, we're waiting for the next witness. Mother Bear says, hallelujah. Maria P says, slam dunk. Here we go. Thomas asked boys for a recess after being handed a PowerPoint presentation from the state. Thomas asked for time to review it so he can know whether to object or not, and Boyce says we'll take a break and return at 9:50. So it is 9:31. So we're looking at 20 minutes, y'all. 20 minutes. So Thomas can look this PowerPoint over. Who's going to be presenting this PowerPoint? We're fixing to find out in about 20 minutes. Yes, I know, Jenny Benny. It seems like they have lots of breaks, long lunches, days off. They've had, I don't even want to start my whining about it. It's a PowerPoint presentation, so it has to be someone in some kind of either law enforcement or medical DNA, something to that effect. But while we're waiting, as many of the Rays on here know, I'm going to fill some air with something important. We got together last Saturday and we discussed new theories. And so I want to go back. It's not about what OKJ has to say. We're going to have to wait 20 minutes. So let's hear from a lot of you about last week's testimony, about the theories that we have maybe developed within ourselves. Crumbly Triscuit says, Alex was expendable. I never considered the poisoning of GHB. There's been so many heartbreaking things that have been coming out that I am catching up in small doses. I hope all the Rays, old and new, are taking care of your mental health throughout this process. This trial is quite poignant in showing us the pure evil in this world that absolutely exists and is real. Sending you all huge hugs. I will continue praying for justice for Charles, Tammy, JJ, and Tolly. Judy Burgess said, Chad's life has 3 segments, not 2. You got Tammy, you got Lori, and you got Bubba, the prison cellmate of Chad's down the road. Oh, Bubba's going to be the 3rd segment of Chatty Boy's life. Hope Grace says, the testimony for Tammy's cause and manner of death was so troubling. The coroner was dithering and seemed hesitant to make a clear determination. I was left with more questions. If they had not exhumed Tammy's body, this coroner would have been resolute in her official written pronouncement of cause and manner of death. Do you think her testimony hurt the prosecution's case? Will that lend reasonable doubt in Chad's case? Well, obviously, that initial ruling of natural causes on Tammy, that's not going to look good for the state. This goes back to whether or not this Utah medical examiner is even coming to testify on this, or whether the state's just going to leave this out, hanging out here in the air. Good questions. I think that this testimony from Brenda Dye does hurt the state's case as it relates to conspiracy to commit murder on Tammy from the Hussey standpoint. But at the same time, there are extra things that was learned. Remember, Lindsay Blake asked Brenda Dye questions about, well, if Tammy fell out of the bed upside down, wouldn't you have seen the spit or whatever coming in a different direction? You got Archie talking about, well, how does a person who's already dead, who can't move, fall out of bed? So, I mean, those are questions that were brought out at the end of last week. The bottom line is we need that Utah medical examiner, y'all. Pure and simple. Then we got Chico's Mummy says, I feel better after listening to these theories. I'm not going to lie. I've been worried that they aren't showing her, Lori, direct conspiring with Chad and Alex. I hope the Utah medical examiner clears up the vagueness about how Tammy died and we get to hear what was found. And, of course, these were comments on Saturday. Now we've got a connection, at least to JJ with Lori. And I think it's a healthy inference that a juror could honestly say, well, what is Lori's hair doing up there on JJ? But I think a lot of people are a little concerned about the evidence about Tammy and whether this really is going to slam the door on Lori on conspiracy to commit murder with Tammy. Now, CEL8276 says, I find Chad's kids' reaction to all the happenings really odd. The fact that they were open to meeting Lori on the day of her funeral and then weren't suspicious about the rapid marriage. Garth on the 911 call didn't sound distraught or shocked. They all came across as people who would ignore indisputable facts and naive at best. And it's just odd. Elfo says, from my perspective, there's at least two key elements that are very damning for Lori when it comes to her verdict. Number one, her behaviors during the time her kids were missing. And two, her saying it's not okay, nothing about this is okay in her phone call with Summer. Shows she knows what she did was wrong. Now, Cheated No More says, it was good to see you in the Rays. My husband has a terminal brain disease, and though I started out with you in the beginning, life changed so drastically that I only check in with channels and people I follow as often as I can. I hope you will accept me, though I cannot always be here. The pathetic line of Chad regarding Tammy's death, where Chad says, how could this be? Seriously, what an idiot. Tammy had a target on her back for a long time. His wanting to get rid of her was palpable. Definitely Chad and Lori collided and became the perfect diabolical duo. However, Chad was searching for another woman to take Tammy's place already. In the long run, Tammy never had a chance. I absolutely have zero trust in their children either. I have my personal opinions, and I stand by the fact that they have really let their mother down big time. I do not trust Garth at all, and Emma has my skin crawling. In fact, I think the children were part of the group. Where in the hell did they get the idea that it was fine and dandy to hang out with Lori and accept her practically immediately after their mother died? I'm telling you something. If Tammy was already in failing health, then I am already dead. I'm in my 50s, and if I was off taking clogging classes and marathoning, I'd end up collapsing and being removed via an ambulance on a stretcher. Tammy must have been in great condition. Am I supposed to be stupid and believe that her children thought she was in declining health? My take on Chad not having Tammy buried in their hometown and having no memorial for her is simply that he hoped people would move on with their lives quicker because it was out of their hands. No one who knew Tammy was able to visit her gravesite in that town. Chad planned to make this a situation of out of sight, out of mind, like all psychopaths do. They're so evil and vapid both, and they do not have the wherewithal to know that just because they deem someone worthless does not mean that other person don't seriously miss the deceased person who meant a whole lot to them. I'm worried that Lori may not be found guilty. I've never recovered from the ludicrousness, something being so ludicrous as the O.J. Simpson and Casey Anthony trials. I remember exactly where I was for the Casey Anthony trial. I was walking out of a grocery store that had a TV broadcasting the verdict. People, including myself, audibly gasped. I was infuriated. I'm still infuriated to this day. So I cannot bet on anything. I just pray that the jury finds Lori guilty. And y'all, we're in a 20-minute break, and I'm reading y'all some very thought-provoking perspectives from comments on Saturday's live stream. Let me just say this. Nate Eaton says, to clarify what I reported earlier, the tape with Lori's hair was found on the outside of the black plastic bag wrapped around JJ's body. We know that duct tape was used on JJ's wrists, ankles, and mouth. More tape was also used on the plastic wrapped around the body. So this does put things in perspective, y'all. We talked about this, year and a half ago, the order of concealment. You start off with duct tape, then you get to the garbage bags and all that, the order of that. Now, Nate is letting us know that hair was found on the outside of the black plastic bag wrapped around JJ's body. And you know what? Lori wants to say that her kids were murdered in Alex's apartment. Somebody tell me, first of all, if JJ had any of his mother's hair on him, because he was around her all the time, how does it get on the outside of the bag? Number two, if Lori's saying that they were over at Alex's, how does hair of Lori's get over at Alex's apartment? We know that it was almost completely a vacant apartment. He didn't set that apartment up to live in. In fact, he never was in there really, except in weird times. The bottom line is she's got a lot of splaining to do. Valerie Moore says she was in the apartment. That's why. Elfo says, it's difficult, man. We need some more smoking guns. How in the hell is it possible that there's not more evidence? Well, we're still in it. We're going to hear more. I just have to believe that. CSI Crowdsource Illumination says the murder apartment. Good morning, THX. And CMAC. Amica Cream says the duct tape was on the outside of the bag. She's done. We're in a 20-minute break, y'all. So anyway, Marilyn Pastor made a comment and said, on the outside, Laura Hoare was friendly and inviting, but within, she is vindictive, ruthless, and cunning. Psychopaths for certain. Last night, I was thinking about her laugh and lack of remorse, and it reminds me so much of Charles Manson. Kathy Benia says, we all know that Lori conspired in the death of Tammy, but the way the state presented it in court hasn't really linked her to it directly. That pisses me off. I hope they have text between all three of them. Maybe circumstantial evidence is enough to convict the wench. And remember this, y'all. Circumstantial evidence is just as important and real evidence as direct evidence. No, it's not the direct smoking gun, but there are a lot of cases out here where a guilty verdict happens on purely circumstantial. We've got more than circumstantial evidence. We've got DNA, we've got fingerprints and palm prints of Alex. Remember, this is a conspiracy case. So the bottom line is that, you got circumstantial evidence that absolutely, in my view, is just as good as a smoking gun. And that's backed up in Idaho law, folks. Circumstantial evidence can be given the same weight as direct evidence. Hope Grace says, so if the Utah coroner testifies, then you think it will bolster the prosecutor's case against Chad? But what about Lori? It makes sense what you say in regard to Tammy's cause of death. Well, the Utah coroner, if the Utah coroner does testify, I hope the Utah coroner will. That's what I'm hoping anyway. I see your point on that, Hope Grace. Yes, it would absolutely look really damning on Chad, but how's this affect Lori? Well, again, this goes back to 404B, prior bad acts. You see Lori and Alex doing all this stuff. Chad is in the middle of all this. You got all these text messages and stuff. And there's still more evidence, I hope, to come. But I sure hope that if this Utah coroner testifies, it's going to establish the cause and manner of death, first of all. Number two, you bring out this whole ordeal about Alex being down the road. Alex not going to do anything without Lori knowing about it. And remember, Lindsay Blake talked about in first-degree murder, you don't have to be the one to actually do it. She said that. So anyway, so you got Gil Van Wee, JK, says, anyone can die of a number of things, no matter how young and fit they are. But Chad made everyone suspicious because he lied so much about the situation. She wasn't well, been getting weaker and weaker, had a coughing fit, passed away quietly. One of Tammy's daughters was going to the fitness class with her. Why didn't she deny Chad's lies? And I guess this goes back to Chad's children being in denial, or at least taking up for him to keep the death penalty from happening to their father. Sharon Davis says, on top of all these evil family dynamics, what happened to Ian Pawlowski? I remember an interview he gave explaining his take on, many of y'all remember Ian's document. It was on Reddit. You can look that up, wherein he supposedly went undercover and recorded his wife, Melanie Pawlowski, and brought forth this group's terrible beliefs. But then he turned on FBI when he said they wanted too much. This was all before the kids were found. Ian had also hidden his kids with help of his ex-wife initially. Are his kids still hidden? Are Brandon Boudreaux's kids still hidden? No, Brandon Boudreaux has worked everything out in child custody with Melanie Pawlowski, and she actually gets to spend time with those children. And that was something OKJ had a problem with, because before he's saying she's trying to kill him for his insurance, and he's worried about his kids, and he does go into hiding, but now we see that that's all been ironed out behind the scenes. I don't know, everyone's got an opinion on that. I think Melanie Pawlowski is just as conniving and evil as Alex, and I hope Ian doesn't have life insurance. Well, I'm sure Melanie Pawlowski's going to be watching herself from now on, because now that everybody knows she's been in the middle of this, there's going to be people watching. And we're in a 20-minute break, y'all, so let's just hope that this gets back started. Again, John Thomas needs time to look over a PowerPoint presentation. We don't know who's going to be presenting this PowerPoint presentation, because it can't be the Coleman woman, I don't suppose, because John Thomas and Rob Wood said no further questions with her. So let's hope that we see what this is all about. And remember this, y'all. Anytime they put together a presentation in PowerPoint, it's some damning stuff. Remember end of last week, they put a PowerPoint presentation together over what? Alex Cox's thumbprint and his palm print. That is very damning evidence and worthy of a PowerPoint, y'all. So I'm excited. I think this PowerPoint presentation is going to tell us a lot, y'all. And just those that are joining us, they found Lori's DNA in her hair on the duct tape, but the duct tape was on the outside of the plastic bag wrapped around JJ's body. We're waiting. We're in a 20-minute break. My bus stop says, agree with most of all your observations. I believe Tammy was drugged, then smothered or choked. I think it was done that night, and he shoved her off the bed in the morning to get Garth to be his witness. Alex either took part leaving his car at the church, or Alex was set up to take the fall if something went wrong. But we need more information, says my bus stop. Ronnie Gilmore says, I don't know if Tammy fell off the bed because of a seizure, because she had no injuries from the big bump, the big thump, and was heard by the son. But if she was dead for some hours and then fell, then I don't think that a dead body shows bruises. And there was never any testimony that they found. I mean, I don't know what thumped. It could have been her head. It could have been her shoulder. It could have been anything. I mean, and then again, Garth says he hears a big thump, and he runs down the hallway because he hears his dad going, Garth, Garth, come quick. The bottom line is if she was still alive and she was in bed, then I could see her falling off the bed. But if she was already dead, and by the way, when he comes in there, she's cold and stiff. The bottom line is it don't add up. Leslie Hagman says, I really hope the Utah medical examiner testifies Monday. The current Utah medical examiner is Eric Christensen. So if we hear that name, we may be in business. And y'all, we've heard that Eric Christensen again. I do not recall, and maybe some of the Rays could look this up real quickly, was Eric Christensen's name on the grand jury list that indicted Chad and Lori? Please look that up, Rays, real quick if you want to help OKJ out. I know the name is familiar, though. So anyone on here wants to go quickly to the court portal where they have the grand jury witness list, not this witness list for the trial because it's sealed, but the grand jury witness list. Please go and figure that out for KJ, because if his name's on that grand jury witness list, then he very well will testify. So please, Rays, help OKJ out if you can. Mother Bear says it was Chad's chin hitting the floor. Right, Squeaky Wheel. We do have to have that MA from Utah come in. Okay, so it's Angie Christensen who testified earlier in the trial, says CSI crowdsourced eliminations. What if they say the DNA was from the blanket? Well, then that will tell you a lot, won't it, Hope? We're still in a break. Oh, okay, Piper. But I like your YouTube name. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Elizabeth Gregory, I'm trying to fill air. I know sometimes it's good to have like a little bit of silence here and there so we can absorb things. But I know people, who are tuning in, they want to hear some things. Now, KCL says, yes, I believe Dr. Eric Christensen is on the witness list, the Utah Medical Examiner. Thank you, KCL. I appreciate that. Been waiting on it. I don't know Tennessee Queen. I don't know who believed in Chad's books in terms of his children. Maybe y'all can, some of the rays on here can answer that. Valerie Gabrielle, they did not do an autopsy. They didn't do an autopsy. They just did what they did. Now, here we go, y'all. Judge Boyce is back on the bench and the jurors are being brought in. That's true, Olive Heatley. These breaks give the jury members a chance to absorb things, and they want the jurors to be comfortable. So maybe they need a bathroom break or a water break. So I know we're all, well, I can only speak for me. I'm impatient. I want to hear it all. Thank you, Roxy. I could read. Oh, let's see, please. Could she? Well, I'll tell you, red-handed. I put nothing past the hussy. She wanted to move on with her life. She's made that clear, y'all. She wanted to be happy, don't you know? She didn't want to be alone. That's what she tells Summer Shiflett. She didn't want to be alone, and yet she wouldn't have been alone if she would have protected her children. She could have watched them grow up, been part of their life. She would have had her little family there. But no, she wanted rid of all of that, and she wanted to be with Chad. Pure and simple. We know it. It's the way it is. So Judge Boyce is back on the bench, y'all. And the jury members are being brought back in. K-Tech believes this week the prosecutors will be showing all the evidence to prove their case. In other words, maybe I'm not speaking for you, but that's a good point. Perhaps they've been doing all of this all this time, and now they're going to tie it all together. Remember, we also have the defense's side of things, their defense, and also the rebuttal case. Let's not forget the rebuttal case. And the rebuttal case is usually about the defense saying, this is why we say our client is not guilty. And then the state takes whatever the defense says and they have a rebuttal case. Lori deserves the same fate she gave her children, says Ricky. I know, Elizabeth Gregory. We're 3 minutes into the new tweet of Boyce is back on the bench and the jurors are being brought in. It's okay, y'all. We'll get to it. We can only do what we can do. Remember, the audio will be out later on this week. Not this week, this evening. And the evenings of all week, really. But this evening, today's testimony will come out on audio. Yeah, Jody Allen, it will be interesting. I thought for sure that John Thomas was going to get up here with this Coleman DNA expert and say, well, wouldn't you think that hair would be somewhere, around JJ since that was his mother? But I think John Thomas knew that if he said that, then it would be like, okay, where would you find this hair? In Lori's apartment and perhaps Alex's apartment, but not as much in Alex's apartment. So maybe John Thomas knew that if he tried that by saying, of course, JJ's mother's hair would be around him. He didn't say it though, and he knew better. Language of Horses says, if they take another break before lunch, I'm going to be mad. Okay, here we go, y'all. Here we are. Rick Wright. Y'all remember Ricky Wright? Y'all remember him? This was in Ian's document. Is the next witness called by the state. Wright is a contract special investigator for the FBI. Lindsay Blake is questioning him. And the Rays know on here in Ian's document. He said he was getting pointers from Ricky Wright about how to record when Chad and Lori would call Melanie P. This was before the kids were found. Ricky Wright was giving him ways of trying to get the information out without Lori and Chad getting suspicious, and Melanie Pulowski. We know, Ian, he was recording his new wife behind her back. That's love for you, isn't it? Andrew F. says, Ricky Wright is never wrong. Y'all, this is going to be interesting. This might lead into Melanie Pulowski or Ian Pulowski's testimony, y'all. I just have a good feeling about this. I really do. For those that are not caught up on this case, you can go in the search engine and put Ian's document. You can put Chad Daybell, Lori Daybell, but put Ian, I-A-N-S, document in and read his take on things. It's damning. And he couldn't back out of it either. Now, Ricky Wright worked as an FBI special agent for 24 years before becoming a contract special investigator. Wright was the Violent Crimes Against Children coordinator in Denver from 2007 to 2018, and he investigated crimes involving missing, abducted, and trafficked children. Y'all, they're fixing to do a PowerPoint presentation. We're fixing to find out some serious shit here. I mean, y'all just know it. They're not going to go through all this unless they've got something good. Ricky Wright of the FBI is on the stand, y'all. That's right, Marilyn Landis. Juicy. Well, get her done, please, says Dodging Bullets. In 2018, Wright was transferred to the Salt Lake City field office and assigned to the resident agency in Pocatello. He was one of 5 special agents in Pocatello at the time. Good morning, Gene P. Kelly Fitzgerald says PowerPoint is for the jury to tie all these facts together. Anytime I've seen a PowerPoint from them, from the state, they're laying it out there, the evidence. Bella Italia says today is a day as justice blooms out. Mother Bear, I think so. I'm now y'all don't quote me on this, but I really believe Melanie P. and Ian's gonna be either sometime today or tomorrow, because Ricky Wright was directly connected with this whole situation with Melanie Pulowski and Ian. Okay, so this is my common sense and gut feeling. Thank you, Robbie Martin. Beautiful morning to you too. Tina Reddington says, May Day is a special day. Marilyn Landis says, connecting the dots. All right, now, Wright began investigating J.J. Vallow on November 27th of 2019. So let's think about that. November the 26th, just the day before, they're doing the welfare check on J.J. Vallow. So the day after that, it was the FBI that came in He was contacted by Rexburg police, and under the Federal Kidnapping Act, the FBI was able to get involved because the missing child was under 12 years of age. So if it wouldn't have been for J.J. Vallow, y'all, missing, if it had only been Tylee, she was already 16, but the FBI and their resources, y'all, and you think about the GPS, the CAST unit, the evidence response team, all these sources came in, these resources, to help find JJ. JJ absolutely was the reason, y'all, that the FBI was able to get involved in this. Initially, police were only aware that JJ was missing, and the FBI began an investigation, and this Ricky Wright was the case manager. Right, Tennessee Queen, and I like your YouTube name. They do, the FBI, they know what, how many dogs or cats you own, what their breed is. They know what you do in the middle of the night when you get up to snack while you're sleepwalking. I think this is going to be good, y'all. Olive Heatley, why record it if you weren't suspicious and afraid? Olive, the FBI asked Ian to start recording. They gave him the little thumb drive device and everything. So Ian Pulowski was being asked, and they were educating him on what they were telling him to do to try to get Chad and Lori, or Melanie Pulowski for that case, to tell them where the children were. And if y'all remember, Ian said that in his document that Lori and Chad never would say anything. Now, Ricky Wright says, fairly early on, we determined JJ's sibling, Tylee Ryan, could not be located. Wright details 2 police departments in Arizona, the Fremont County Sheriff's Office, and the Rexburg Police Department were all involved in the investigation. And y'all remember this, as this case started to come together, we started realizing that all these law enforcement agencies were helping each other out. They were all in this together. This was a multi-law enforcement agency ordeal here. Fremont was probing the death of Tammy Daybell at this time, and Chandler police were looking into the death of Charles Vallow. Gilbert police were looking into the shooting of Brandon Boudreaux. So you think about that. Think about that. Tammy's, they're looking into her death. They're looking into the death of Charles Vallow. They're looking into the shooting attempt on Brandon Boudreaux. All these law enforcement agencies, had they not gotten together on this, they wouldn't have been able to say 1 + 1 = 2, and etc., etc. And I believe they all met in Utah, I believe, at some point. Yes, I know Bella Italia. That's something that the Chandler Police Department will always have to, they'll have to accept about their shitty job on what they did in terms of Charles Vallow. Perhaps they've looked at this now. Yes, they have charged Lori in conspiracy to commit murder, but maybe they've updated things now and looked back over it and said, we've got to change things. We have to start really doing things better, basically. Now, Lindsay Blake asked Ricky Wright if he met with Ian Pulowski. Y'all, here it is. He says, yes, he spoke with Ian at the Rexburg Police Department on December 5th of 2019. And think about this, y'all. Ian Pulowski meets with them December 5th of 2019. Well, Melanie Gibb doesn't even go back to police until like the 8th or 9th of December. So Ian really was the one that was trying to be helpful. Melanie Gibb had to get her, her and David Warwick's story together, don't y'all know? After the conversation, Ricky Wright says his concern for the children's safety increased. And we know that Ian was saying, they're talking this weird stuff. They're talking about all this stuff. Ricky Wright says he was asked to consensually record conversations, y'all, that he was a party to. And Ian agreed and recorded some conversations he had with Melanie P., his wife, and Chad and Lori. Y'all, here it comes. This has to be the PowerPoint. Or maybe they got it out there on the PowerPoint. Maybe they'll play the audio. I don't know. But this has got to do, y'all, with Ian's secret recordings of his own wife and Chad and Lori and Alex. Y'all, this is big. This is big. Yeah, Saltina. Ian is still married to the psycho and's got a kid with her. The recording device belonged, y'all, to the Rexburg Police Department, and they have copies of the conversations. Buckle up, y'all. Get ready. We're fixing to hear it, either on audio or on this PowerPoint presentation. Can y'all believe it, Tara Deepa? OMG. Here we go, says Zoe. Here we go, says Janelle. Oh my gosh, the shit's fixing to hit the fan, says Robinette. And Robinette didn't say that word, but OKJ will, because I'm an old country girl that don't really care. These people are going down, y'all. Annabelle says, OMG. Want to hear the audio, says Marilyn Landis. Beach Lady, I think there was some sections of it that she didn't know Ian had done. Oh my goodness, y'all. Wright says other FBI agents were brought in to assist with the case, including Agent Nick Balance. Remember, y'all, this is all coming back, who testified earlier in the trial. Oh, Jenny Benny says, I need another cup of coffee. Oh, Tina Reddington, it's just too early in the day. Can you slide me some of that peanut butter stuff you got over there? Oh, my goodness, y'all. Oh, my goodness. Bring it on, says Valerie Moore. Y'all, we're fixing to hear it. We're going to hear it. Hey, Rusted Knight. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Y'all, the hair on the back of my neck is standing straight up. Terry Ward says, boom, boom, boom. Bam, says Gloria Fritz. Oh, my gosh. It's on like Donkey Kong, says Mrs. D. Listen to this, y'all. You ready? You ready? When the records would come in from various phones, y'all, that we requested from the carriers, they would go to him for analysis, and he was feeding information to us to give us potential avenues of investigation. Y'all, they were using Ian to try to investigate where the kids were. Oh, my gosh. It was from various phones. And then they would go to Ian for analysis, and he was feeding information to us to give us potential avenues of investigation. Tracy Dale says, here we go. Christy Boutique says, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. I need a drink. Oh, my gosh, y'all. Could we see Lori's face now, says Robinette. Oh, my gosh. We're going to hear it, y'all. PowerPoint presentation. Oh my goodness. Drum roll, please, says THX. Y'all, I'm on it. I'm just waiting for it to update. Daughter of Scotland says this is awesome. Y'all, look, I'm telling you, we're fixing to hear it. Oh my goodness. Y'all, what a way to start a Monday. Come on, Ricky Wright. Lay it on us. Give us a PowerPoint presentation. Oh, yeah, Heather Strock. Lori, are you drawing, smiling, laughing now? Yeah. We're fixing to find out. Oh, my goodness. Oh, Mission Orion says, I'm holding on to my seat. Jenny Benny says, God is good, and dodging bullets is letting them emojis fly. Oh my goodness, y'all. I'm waiting. I'm sitting here refreshing. About time. Go, state, go, says Heather Strock. Oh my goodness. Ricky Wright requested that Balance provide all data he retrieved, y'all, from September of 2019. Crucial. A crucial month, a crucial year. Balance later gave Wright everything from October to, we're about to see, y'all, a PowerPoint presentation about what was obtained. Oh my gosh, Renee says, waiting so long for this. Dogmon says, wow. Big Stack says, OMG. Rowan 2U says, Melanie Pulowski. Oh my goodness, y'all. This will be mind-blowing, says Mother Bear. Oh, Steffi SG says, yay. Y'all were fixing to hear it. All we had was Ian's document. And that was damning in and of itself, but we'd always wondered, had we not always wondered what was in those recordings? We're fixing to find out, y'all. Thomas asked Wright when he completed the PowerPoint, and Wright says he worked with prosecutors last night on the presentation. And Wright says this was put together to help me with the information I had. And he cannot. A PowerPoint is a demonstrative aid for the jurors. As some of y'all point out, a PowerPoint helps the jurors understand the context and relation of the content that they're fixing to lay on us, y'all. We're fixing to hear it. We're fixing to hear it. Oh my gosh. Dodging bullets, you were born for this trial. All of the rays on here. Y'all, we've been waiting. I'm waiting too. The first slide says Alex Cox, HomerJMaximus@gmail.com with his phone number, y'all. So here we have, in my opinion, my theory, Alex Cox, the instrument of murder, the actual hands-on, the hitman, the heavy, the scapegoat, whatever you want to call him. Y'all, the first slide is Alex Cox, HomerJMaximus@gmail.com, and his phone number, y'all. We're fixing to hear it. I just can't believe it. Letitia, you're not going to believe it. They're fixing to let us know what was on the secret recordings that Ian did for the FBI agent Ricky Wright. And these, he confirms, whatever Ian gave him helped them and aided them in their investigation. Cook Goose in Florida, you're right. Ian did this. He did this, and he tried to come out on national TV before the kids were found with his new wife, Melanie Pulowski, and said, well, the reason I did this was because the whole purpose was to find the kids, and if we could just get the kids found, then me and Melanie Pulowski could go on with our lives. But instead, y'all, he cannot backtrack on this. And God only knows what Melanie P. was saying at this time. Make no mistake. Melanie Pulowski is going to be testifying today or tomorrow, y'all. Ricky Wright says it appears, y'all, that Alex started residing in Idaho the evening of September 1st of 2019 based on his cell phone data. Alex's phone moved from St. George, Utah to Rexburg the evening of the 1st, and the device began to spend its evenings at the Pioneer Road apartment complex. Beginning September 5th, y'all, the device began to go to another unit in the complex. Y'all, September 5th is only 3 days before the last known sighting of Tylee Ryan at Yellowstone Park. So let's let this absorb. He goes into Rexburg. His device is at the Pioneer Road apartment, but beginning September 5th, y'all, the device begins to go to another unit in the complex. Andrew F. says, Lori's going down like a real housewife. Y'all, we were always wondering. We knew that Alex Cox, his name was on Lori's apartment 175, and his apartment, which was, I forgot which number it wasn't 174, 107, I believe, was the apartment that Lori rented, which she didn't abide in, that was supposed to be Alex's. And we all figured that these crazy-ass cult members, they did this to kind of conceal where Lori was at. So this confirms to us, y'all, that through their PowerPoint presentation and the device of Alex Cox, he's not just at one unit now. He's going to another unit. They don't specify yet. If there's a joke, Beach Bum, Harley 62, I didn't see it. I'm right here. I'm freaking out because I want to hear what Ricky Wright's got on this presentation. Y'all know I love you to death. I'll get back with you on it. Whatever it is, please forgive me. The next slide shows Alex's travel activity data points based on his cell phone as he went to and from Yellowstone, y'all, on Sunday, September 8th of 2019. And that was when they had the pictures of Lori, Alex, and the kids. The same damn Sunday, the same day, they've got it in the murder indictment that Chad is with Tammy, upping her life map insurance on that same day, y'all. There are no coincidences. It's all coming together, says Marilyn Landis. Liza Joe, I believe that Melanie Pulaski is not stable. Oh my gosh. Y'all are so cool. I'm waiting, y'all. Here it is. The data points come from GPS, Wi-Fi, and cell tower data, according to Wright. Wright says this information was all compiled together, so each data point was looked at individually. And do not forget, y'all, Alex set up a Wi-Fi signal there at the apartment complex, which said too many kids. And Lori texted back, ha ha ha, whatever. They were ready to take the kids out, y'all. Premeditation at its most evil and diabolical nature. Erica Guajardo says, I have chills on my whole body. Stephanie G says, the light will always come through evil darkness. Bella Italia says, oh dear Lord. Jenny Benny says, so disgusting. Lori's a demon, says Love Blanche. So they're looking at each data point, y'all, from more than one source of data. It's coming from GPS, it's coming from Wi-Fi, and it's coming from cell tower data. So all of these three empirical pieces of data and everything, they corroborate each other. This is good. It'd be different if they said the data points come from the cell phone tower. Then John Thomas could get up there and say, well, you don't know. Sometimes it'll bounce off a different tower. But they've got three ways of proving this, y'all. Sarah Howland says, unreal. All right, y'all. Put your thinking caps on, just like the old days when we were kids. At least some of us anyway. Put them thinking caps on. Here we go. Ricky Wright says Alex's device left at Rexburg Maverick convenience store. Y'all remember that? At 11:32 a.m. on September the 8th. And Ricky Wright says, we begin to see this data trail, breadcrumbs, as it goes to the West Yellowstone entrance. So this Maverick convenience store is before they go to Yellowstone, and we know he went there after too. And we'll get to it. The device goes to Old Faithful, then further into the park, and eventually leaves the park at 6:40 p.m. So we weren't real sure what they had in terms of what their actions and their movements inside of the park, although we did see pictures of them standing on a platform there. Excuse me. Dodging bullets, that's a great question. Did Tylee have her phone with her at Yellowstone? Well, we know Lori took pictures with her phone. She was trying to get a sick damn pleasure, I guess, out of the last known aliveness of her children. It's confirmed that we know Lori's phone took pictures. Alex's phone is being talked about now. That's a great point, Dodging Bullets. Maybe we'll find this out. Excellent point. Brilliant. Yin Yang says, evil and stupid. They documented all their crimes. You're right about that, Yin Yang. Tina Reddington says, I'm sweating and it's only in the 40s here. Well, honey, get you some peanut butter. You know, that peanut butter helps out every now and then, don't you know? I'm waiting on a refresh, y'all. Trust me. OKJ's not going to miss a thing. The Deer Garden says psychopaths always overplay their hand. Excellent point. Robinette Bannister says Lori took the kids to have one last good memory before they were murdered. How sick is that? A lot of people believe that. A lot of people believe that. But you know what I think? I think that's probably true, but I also think maybe they were there to possibly look at those hot Bowling Springs or places in the dang Yellowstone Park that they could hide those bodies. What do y'all think? There were stops at Old Faithful and the nearby cafeteria around 3 p.m. Ricky Wright says photos of Tylee, Alex, and JJ were taken on a boardwalk at Old Faithful at 3:49 p.m. The pictures were recovered on Lori's iCloud account. These photos were the last known images of Tylee, not JJ, but Tylee. And it's when you see that nasty ass, sling blade looking guy like Alex Cox standing behind Tylee holding JJ at that Old Faithful platform there, I would love to take, a rifle and just blow that man's head off for what he did. And Lori smiling in her little hoodie there with JJ right there in the picture with her. She's sick. She's twisted. And I absolutely wonder if she sent those pictures to Chad the same day to let him know, I'm saying goodbye to him, Chad. You ain't got to worry about it anymore. Well, at least Tylee. At least Tylee, because JJ hung around for another couple of weeks. They took Tylee out because Tylee knew too much. Tylee was not going to put up with Lori continuing to use her money. When Tylee told Kobe on the text message, when Kobe had gotten with Tylee before her death, saying, will you send me $100 or something like that? And Tylee told Kobe, it's not under my control anymore. I guarantee you Tylee was on her mom about that. Now, Ricky Wright continues to explain the movements of Alex's device throughout the park as a map is displayed on the screen. He says the data points were very frequent, and Wright tried to identify potential areas of investigation. He says Alex's vehicle did not stop for any long duration until it got to West Yellowstone after it left the park. Let me say that again, y'all, because I have to let it sink into OKJ. Ricky Wright says Alex's vehicle did not stop for any long duration until it got to West Yellowstone after it left the park. Now, we know that when they left the park, they went to Buckaroo's Barbecue. Y'all remember that? I think it was like 18 minutes, something like that. And then they headed on home. Well, what about this? They talk about just what I've read a minute ago about them going to the cafeteria and stuff. Well, they get something to eat, something to drink there. What were they doing at Buckaroo's Barbecue? Gut feeling? They went to get something there. It's a damn shame that it was probably most definitely Tylee's last meal, wherever it was at. Wright says there didn't seem to be any unusual stopping or deviations while Alex was at the park. Right, you gang. Well, Jenny Benny, the only thing that anybody has ever been able to come up with on that, why they brought him to Yellowstone before Tylee was murdered, sick, twisted, let's have a fun day, let Tylee be with JJ because she's fixing to die, and this will be the last time JJ will see his sister. Think about that. Think about the evil nature of that, y'all. Because there's no way that you go from going and spending a family day out there to just in the spur of the moment after going back, deciding to murder Tylee. This proves to me, y'all, that you don't go from a family day out at Yellowstone to just some spontaneous murder. Jay Hughes, I don't think Chad met them at Yellowstone, and I don't think he was there that evening at the apartment complex. Because, see, Tammy was still alive. And Tammy's only home during the weekends, and it's the same day on Sunday that they're signing the life insurance. Some think that maybe he forged her name, but he wouldn't have been over there at the apartments on a Sunday evening because Tammy would be at home, and he didn't want things to get suspicious. That's just an opinion. Right, KCL. Chad was home upping Tammy's life insurance and Googling south-southwest wind. That's another thing that puts Chad at home. Great point, KCL. There was a stop or very close to a barbecue restaurant in West Yellowstone. The vehicle arrived back at Lori's Rexburg apartment at 8:37 p.m., y'all. Wright says he could not identify much of anything to investigate with the Yellowstone trip. Everything seemed normal, and Ricky Wright is confident that Tylee returned to the apartment. Well, they're definitely not going to leave Tylee murdered out there at Yellowstone. That I just don't see that. That's not something that I would have thought would have. There were other people there. We talked about it. Could it have happened that on the way back, maybe JJ was asleep in the car and they did Tylee in by drugging her? But he's saying there was no deviation other than going to that barbecue place. And then, remember, Rays, we talked about the time from Yellowstone back to the apartments. There wasn't a lot of time there. So this FBI agent says he is confident that Tylee returned to Lori's apartment. After Alex's device returns to Lori's apartment, it goes to the Maverick gas station for 10 minutes around 9:43 p.m. It then goes back to Lori's apartment from and then to Alex's apartment. Now, this just popped into OKJ's head. What was he doing there at the Maverick convenience store for 10 minutes? Could he have been getting some gasoline? Maybe he didn't get the gas off of Chad's property. Maybe he was going to bring the gasoline with him, y'all, to burn Tylee's body. I don't know if they'll have any testimony of that. Molly's mom, why would he leave Lori's apartment to go to the Maverick convenience store to take a crap? Couldn't he have gone to the other apartment or took a crap in Lori's apartment? Kelly Cantrell says cigarettes. I don't think Alex smoked, y'all. I don't think they found any nicotine in his toxicology report. And I wanted to back up on that as well. When we got the toxicology report back from Alex Cox and it showed no drugs in his system other than the Narcan, the EpiPen thing, they perhaps didn't check for GHB, but they were sure going to expand the toxicology report on Tammy and JJ, I would think. Now, put it in perspective, y'all. Ricky Wright says that after Alex's device returns to Lori's, obviously it goes to the gas station for 10 minutes. Then it goes back to Lori's apartment. From, and then to Alex's apartment. There are several data points on Alex's device in Lori's apartment early on, y'all. September 9th, overnight, from 2:42 a.m. until 8:49 a.m. Again, y'all, my theory has always been that Lori was there with JJ. I'm not so sure about Tylee. I just don't see it, but according to this, he's in Lori's apartment during the time Tylee is being murdered. Maybe Tylee was OD'd. Maybe Tylee was strangled. We'll never know her cause of death. We just know her manner of death was homicide. Now, Ricky Wright says he observed all the activity on Alex's device for the month of September. Alex was often in Lori's apartment from around 8 to midnight, and then the device would go into Alex's apartment. It would stay there until morning or sometimes as late as noon. And Ricky Wright says, this was the only time I observed it go to apartment 175 between the hours of midnight and 6 a.m. So we're looking at apartment 175. Again, whose names was on the lease really doesn't at this point. They're talking about apartment 175, where Lori was actually at, where they were moved in there, where they had food in the fridge and the pantries and all of that stuff. An overhead map is now being shown of the apartment complex, and Wright points out The distance between Alex and Lori's apartments around 80 meters. So remember, Race, when we all took last January, Wayne and I went to Idaho and we went to the apartment complex and we were looking for surveillance cameras and also the layout of where the garage was. Also, we went to look to see the distance between Lori and Alex's. It was a couple of units over. It wasn't close by to one another. Other data points were recorded on Alex's phone at 4:37 a.m., 4:39 a.m., 4:41 a.m., 5:14 a.m., 6:47 a.m., and 8:49 a.m. So we know that Alex was over there at Lori's, y'all. One can only theorize what happened. I'll tell you this right now. If this happened in Lori's apartment, they had the perfect way to get Tylee out of there. That garage on the back, y'all. All you have to do is pull in there and shut the door, load the body. Now on Monday, September 9th, the device departs Alex's apartment about 9 a.m. So let's think about that. If the device departs Alex's apartment at 9 a.m., and we're supposing that Tylee's body is with Alex in the back of his truck, then how did Tylee's body get over to Alex's? Or was she over there to begin with? It travels north to Chad Daybell's house, 8 miles north of the apartment, and arrives at Chad Daybell's at 9:15 a.m. Let's keep in mind, y'all, Tammy Daybell is still alive. She's at work. She is a librarian at an elementary school. She's already at work. Okay? So Chad is at the house when Alex shows up. And we'll see this bared out here in a minute. Yes, that's right. The garages were on the back ends of the apartments. There's an alleyway in the back on all the garages on one unit or on the back. Jenny Benny says they waited for Tammy to go to work. Nadine Hanson, I'm not sure. I've never gotten myself down on that. Perhaps she was at her parents'. Can somebody confirm that? When Tammy was at her family's visiting, this was on a I forgot which day of the week it was, y'all. Numerous data points were recorded between 9:15 a.m. and 9:45 a.m. at Chad's residence. Lori is taking notes as Ricky Wright speaks. Some of the jurors are taking notes. By 11:45 a.m., the device is traveling southbound and returns to Rexburg. So by 11:45, it's traveling. This is Alex's device. And 7 minutes after that, Alex Cock is stopping at Del Taco for 10 minutes. And that's disgusting. That son of a bitch is burning up his niece Tylee with the help with Chad helping out there, chopping her up, stabbing on her, and then he wants to go to Del Taco and eat. Psychopaths. Psychopaths. Marvin says no notes are going to save Lori. You right about that. Big Tech says there was more than one bonfire on Chad's property. So let's think about that, y'all. Alex left Chad's property, y'all. Remember this, 11:45 a.m. Don't forget that, because I know what they're fixing to talk about. When we're talking about 11:45 a.m., Alex is leaving, okay? Let's see what happens with Chad's device. 11:45 a.m. There were 4 major data points Wright observed during the time period that Alex was at the Daybell property. A data point appears at the shed, y'all, at the shed. They had to conceal what they were doing at 9:21 a.m. with a 6-meter radius margin of error. So he is at the shed at 9:21, and 1 minute later, y'all, there's a data point at the gate into the property. You can drive onto the property at this gate. No quality data points are received until 27 minutes later, y'all. And that's at 9:39 a.m. And another data point is received again at 10:57 a.m. So what I see in this is Alex came onto Chad's property. He went to the shed. Then he must have went back to his truck, got in the truck, opened the gate, and came in. The last data point was at 10:57 a.m. Y'all remember? Y'all remember what I said? He left at 11:45 to go to Del Taco. Wright again mentions the gate allowed a vehicle to drive onto the back part of the property. It's just interesting, is it not, y'all? This is daytime, not morning. Really, it's like mid-morning, but it's purely light outside. And none of these neighbors have seen a vehicle drive onto the property, or at least we have no testimony of that yet. And just take this into consideration. If a vehicle is driving onto the back end of that property by opening the gate and going in, and Chad is home, how could Chad not know? Even if the vehicle wasn't driving on the back end of the property. If Alex is there, what is he going to hide from Chad behind this shed and this one bush and a tree over here? Give me a break, y'all. Chad knows Alex is there. We got to take into totality also. Remember the text messages they talked about when Tylee was gone, basically. Lori's talking to Chad. Chad is talking to Alex. Remember those text messages? We don't know what was said, but who spends all that time on the phone at that crucial moment? So what did I tell y'all? What did I tell you? That Chad was there. We know he was there because Alex Cox left at 11:45 and went to Del Taco, 11:45 a.m., y'all. And guess what? 11:53. That's 8 minutes later. 8 minutes later, y'all. We now see the raccoon text Chad sent to Tammy on Monday, September 9th at 11:53, telling her he'd been burning limb debris when he saw a raccoon and had to kill and bury it in the family pet cemetery. There you go. Busted. Busted. Even if he wouldn't have sent that text message, if they could have gotten his phone out there in the backyard within 8 minutes of Alex. But this is even more damning because Tylee was burned, and Chad is talking about burning limb debris. Chad is also talking about he's killed a raccoon. He's got to say he's killed something to put it in the pet cemetery. He's got to let Tammy know why he's buried something there, y'all. Give me a break. He's an animal, Molly's mom says. Coupled with this text and data points by the fire pit, this certainly set up some red flags for us, says FBI agent Ricky Wright. Y'all think, folks? Y'all think? That's right, Amy Lake. It wasn't limb debris. It was precious Tylee Ryan. A warrant was then obtained by the Rexburg Police Department to search the property. Ricky Wright says human remains were found near the data points, and those remains were of Tylee Ryan. And he's talking about the data points of Alex Cox and Chad, that nasty ass Chin Daybell. They were able, that's how they knew, y'all. It was from Chad and Alex's data points that they were able to be able to zero in on where Tylee was. Mohawk Mom says most people would be at work during this time period. That makes sense. Elfo says this is really good news. Oh, this is wonderful news. And the Rays knew. There's no way Chad can say, I didn't know anything. Alex and Lori framed me. I just so happened to, hey, and by the way, I've got to explain when the cash unit and all these law enforcement people dug up that pet cemetery, that there wasn't a raccoon in there. There wasn't no raccoon in there. And it's just a coincidence that Tylee's all burned up, but Chad's going to go out there and not even know that Alex is out there? Give me a break, y'all. There's no way in the time that Alex was out there, bringing Tylee out there, until Alex left, that all of that was burned up. It's not possible. It's not possible. We knew there was no way that a juror could see this any other way, y'all. There's no, I mean, I'm just telling you. There ain't no way. KCL says raccoons are nocturnal. Some people say they've seen raccoons out in the daytime. But the bottom line is even if you wrote off the raccoon, the bottom line is he was burning limb debris and he was burying something in a pet cemetery. And no raccoon, says Dodging Bullets. We now see a slide showing the activity from Alex's device on September 22nd, the last time JJ was seen alive. Ricky Wright says there was some traffic with the device. Alex went back and forth between Lori's apartment and his apartment between 4:29 p.m. and 12:11 a.m. Okay, now let's stop there. Let's stop there. This is where Melanie Gibb and David Warwick were spending the night, y'all. from 4:29 p.m. to 12:11 a.m. Some people said JJ was murdered overnight, and KJ says he was murdered sometime that evening. I believe it, y'all. I believe it. I believe that this was during the time that Melanie Gibb and David Warwick comes up with this bullshit story about David having a terrible nightmare, and she jiggles the knob on Lori's door, but she don't want to wake her up, but she's texting her, calling her, texting Chad, calling Chad to help old David Warwick. Give me a break, y'all. Alex went back and forth between Lori's apartment and his apartment between 4:29 p.m. and 12:11 a.m. Is Melanie Gibb and David Warwick saying that Alex Cox came back about 12:11 a.m. in the morning with JJ on his shoulder? It was a tender moment. He took him upstairs. Or what? I don't believe in none of that story. I don't. Never will. By 10, let's see. Okay, here we go. Alex's device doesn't move from his apartment between 12:11 a.m. and 9:41 a.m. that Monday morning on September 23rd. At 9:41 a.m., the device travels from the apartments to Chad Daybell's home, where it arrives at 9:55 a.m. in the morning, y'all. Let's remember that. Let's remember that, because we know in the murder indictment they're saying an overt act was done by Alex Cox. He transported JJ's body to Chad's property. 9:55 a.m., y'all. How long was he there? I think the Rays remember. Was he there 2.5 hours like he was with Tylee? Was he there? No. Because 2 data points found near the pond of Chad Daybell's property between 9:55 a.m. when Alex arrives and 7:02 a.m. other data points were recorded at the house's front door. Let me repeat that, because that was not specified. He arrives at Chad's, and guess what, y'all? He don't go through the gate. He didn't go to the shed this time like he did with Tylee. He goes to Chad Daybell's front door, don't you know? You think Chad can say that I didn't know Alex was here doing this on my property? I mean, come on, y'all. We didn't know this. I didn't know this. From 9:55 a.m. until 10:02 a.m. That's 7 minutes, y'all. Alex is he's going to the front door of Chad's house. Can y'all believe that, Carmen? Can y'all believe it? Can y'all believe this? Chad is letting Alex Cox in, y'all. That's 7 minutes. 7 minutes, y'all. Wright points out on Google Earth image where Alex's data points were recorded on Chad Daybell's property. Bella Italia says he's letting Alex in. Kel, you're right. Mind-blowing. This whole idea that Chad is going to say that he didn't know Alex and Lori did this, first of all, makes no damn sense at all. That Lori and Alex would want to do this behind Chad Daybell's back. For God's sake, y'all. They took orders from, they believed every damn thing Chad told them. Why would they go behind Chad Daybell's back? And Alex Cox is going to go to Chad's without Lori knowing it? Alex is going to go to Chad's front door the day he's transporting JJ out there. JJ's remains were ultimately found by the pond, and Tylee's were found buried by the fire pit. That's right. She likes diamonds. Chad is the cult leader. But make no mistake, Lori made herself clear in past recordings in these in-home meetings that she was on equal footing with men, don't you know? She's not going to be one of these submissive cult members. She's going to do everything Chad wants her to do, but if she don't want to do something, she's not going to do it. Yes. Yes. Now listen up. Ricky Wright says Alex's phone was at or near the Daybell residence 4 times. 4 times in September. One time was on September 6th. One time was September 9th. Another time was September 23rd. And another time was September 25th. That's right. That's right. That's a good point. Melanie Gibb and David Warwick were at Lori's that morning. Some could say, well, KJ, Alex had already loaded JJ's body up before Melanie Gibb and them had gotten up and had already somewhat taken off. I think Melanie Gibb and David Warwick said they left about 8:30 their time that morning. I don't believe in any of that, but I don't believe any of it, really, as far as Melanie Gibb and David Warwick's testimony. Anything else that we can see that Melanie Gibb or David Warwick said in their testimony that can be coupled with other evidence to corroborate, then I'll look at it. But I will not believe their testimony alone. Alex Cox visited Dan's window tinting in Rexburg on September the 23rd for about 5 minutes. He visited the store twice on September 25th. So they're getting ready, y'all. They are getting ready to get the Jeep tinted because what happens? First, the second day of October, they're shooting at Brandon Boudreaux. They got their premeditation all worked out, don't you know? That's right, Janelle Murphy. They're all guilty, says Terry Ward. That's right, KCL. They were prepping for the murder of Brandon Boudreaux. You know, you got Melanie Pulaski and their little cult. And she starts receiving all that money. You think it's not going to fund that cult? Gene P. believes that it wasn't a nightmare from David Warwick. He witnessed the murder. And that could very well be so. I don't believe that there was a nightmare. I mean, like him asleep nightmare. Hell, they can't even, in their testimony, she woke him up, he woke her up, or maybe they woke each other up. Give me a break. Little things like that matter in a triple murder trial. Needs some Z's. We haven't heard any charges. No charges have been filed on the attempt on Brandon Boudreaux's life. They've got storage unit video that absolutely shows quite clearly what they were doing. It's a damn shame, is it not? We don't know about that second grand jury in Idaho That wouldn't have been nothing about, I don't think it would have been, that would have been an Arizona issue jurisdictionally. The second grand jury might have been something else. We now see the image of the Jeep used in the Brandon Boudreaux, Arizona shooting. It has tinted windows. Police searched the vehicle after it was seized, and 2 receipts were found inside, y'all. One was from a Mexican restaurant on October 1st of 2019 at 1:12 p.m. The day before, y'all, Brandon Boudreaux is shot at. The shooting of Brandon took place on October 2nd, and the other receipt is from Chick-fil-A in Ammon on October the 18th of 2019 at 8:05 p.m. So that's the day before Tammy dies, y'all. Another receipt. So we're looking at this. This is evidence of Alex Cox using that Jeep in nefarious ways, not only for the attempt on Brandon's life, but it's showing quite clearly here. October 18th, the day before Tammy is murdered, that he's at a Chick-fil-A in Ammon. So he's using this Jeep. You know, I would too, Betsy's Barn. I would sure like there not to be any ambiguity about Melanie Gibb and David Warwick's phone pings. Where were they? I think the state just wanted the big fish in all of this. I really do. And they were willing to make a deal with these cult members for their testimony. Tammy Daybell died the night of the 18th until October 19th, Wright says. The receipt date was significant to law enforcement. So I'm assuming, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, obviously know his vehicle was parked up at that church the night of the 18th, but when we're talking about a Chick-fil-A in Ammon, is that on the way? Is that close to Chad Daybell's residence? I'm not really sure. Yin Yang, they haven't showed that. They haven't shown the storage unit video of Lori and Chad and Alex basically showing the world how their tag team conspiracy crap. I think it's important because it shows they were all working together, and they should play it. Because if Lori wants to say in this trial that this was Alex and Chad, and that she didn't know that they would do this behind her back, well, she sure was right there. Not only putting stuff in the storage unit of her children, but also the attempt on Brandon's life. This was all conspiratorial stuff. This showed they worked together in everything that they were doing. Ammon is about half an hour from Rexburg, says Ginger Ella. Thank you. On September the 25th, y'all, that's 2 to 3 days after JJ was murdered and taken out to Chad's and buried, Alex visited Walmart in Idaho Falls and bought a cell phone with cash at 7:10 p.m. His other cell phone shows he was in the vicinity of the Walmart at the time. On October 8th, Alex visited Walmart in Rexburg from 3:01 to 3:37 p.m. So he was there 36 minutes at a Walmart in Rexburg on October 8th. That's the day before Tammy Daybell is shot at. He's getting the cell phones. I guess they've got this thing, these crazy ass people. They got to switch out them murder phones as much as possible. They think they're going undetected. After Alex and Lori abandoned their Rexburg apartments, the property manager found 2 cell phones in Alex's unit. The phones were turned over to police, and Ricky Wright learned the phones were the ones purchased at the Walmart stores on October the 8th, y'all. The day before Tammy was shot at. And it was after Tylee and JJ were murdered. It's also after the attempt on Brandon Boudreaux's life. And we know that when Alex and Lori abandoned their Rexburg apartments, that was the evening after the welfare check, November the 26th of 2019. The neighbors said they saw Lori and Alex throwing shit in the back of the truck and hauling ass out of there. Tracy Phillips, you say, I have not seen her defense provide any alternative story that would prove her innocence. And that's a great point, but just remember this. In a court of law, Lori is presumed innocent until proven guilty, and it is not the defense's job to prove her innocence. The state has to prove her guilty. I understand what you're saying. They should be given some kind of alternate theories out here to create what? Reasonable doubt. But I don't see much of any of that. And Mohawk Mom wants us all to remember Melanie Pulowski was living right next door to Lori. And what was it, within a week to 10 days, she's meeting Ian, who doesn't live far from there. She met him on a dating site. And they just immediately clicked, don't you know? They immediately knew that they wanted to get married. Isn't that special, y'all? Olive Heatley says, Melanie P. next door saw no evil, heard no evil, spoke no evil. Well, that's subjective, but I sure understand what you're saying. Lisa Tagliablu says, how can they defend the indefensible? Well, they got to do something, right? Now Lindsay Blake is moving to admit the Walmart phone receipts into evidence. Again, more evidence, y'all. Evidence of a conspiracy. Evidence of the fact that they were all in this. Lori and Alex were doing these burner phones, y'all, along with Chad. All of them were doing this stuff. There's no way that Lori, she's the morning after Tylee's murdered, that she's talking to Chad via, on the phone. We don't know what was said. Just so happens, right? That's a good point. There's been a lot of clarification from the defense attorneys. It's almost like they're actually reasserting what the state is presenting, which is damning. The defense ain't helping their client, in my opinion. Because through clarification, the jury's hearing it more than once. Marcia says, I'm so ready, KJ, to hear all this. Right, Mohawk Mom. It was October 31st. that she moved in next door to Lori overnight. She had Alex helping her move. Then you look at it. That's November until the whole month of November. She doesn't say anything. Well, I believe that, John Shepherd. Lori didn't love Chad, and Chad didn't love Lori. There's no way that love, real love, they were horny and lust with one another. Lust for power, money, and sex. Yeah, the defense does suck, but they're giving her the minimum defense. That way she can't say ineffective assistance of counsel, which is fine. I guarantee you, Kathy Benya, Melanie Pulaski was looked at as someone who could provide funds to their freaking inner circle. Remember, Zulema even talked about that in her testimony. She said it bothered Melanie Pulaski because Lori had been saying, well, Melanie Pulaski, she's got money. Remember that? And it bothered Melanie Pulaski. But you know what? When you join a cult, that's what happens. It's community. Everything you have, you give to the community. But guess who gets to, what was it Melanie Gibb talked about in her East Idaho News extravaganza? She talks to Nate and says, well, you know, Lori and Chad were going to be the leaders and we were the 144,000. We weren't going to be the ones to stay in the white tents. We were going to have better accommodations. Trust me, Lori and Chad would have gotten everything, comfort, creature comforts, everything, and all of that for Lori and Chad. And everybody else would have had to give Lori and Chad whatever. Now, because Blake wants to admit the Walmart phone receipts into evidence, John Thomas objects to having the receipts admitted, but Boyce overrules the objection and lets the receipts come in. Guess he's got to pretend he's doing something, right? That's right, Melody. I think all those cult members need to be charged with something, accessory after the fact or anything. I know that the state knows more. I just believe that. They got to know these people knew. But I think they're like, we've got to put Lori and Chad away for good. And they're willing to do this. This is just an opinion. Jay Blake says, Alex wasn't in Lori's apartment through the night, so he didn't do the tape. Well, I'll tell you something. That's a good point. Did they find Alex's hair on that outer layer there? No, they found Lori Hussey Daybell's. Janelle Murphy says, Alex didn't have any hair. Well, he had some, but he was going bald, wasn't he? I'm waiting on a refresh, y'all. Yes, Hope Grace, I believe that. They are getting close to convicting Lori. I really believe it. We're waiting, y'all, for an update here. They have entered that evidence, and the jury will have that to look back on when they do deliberate of those Walmart receipts. It's pretty damning. I mean, the state's cases. I mean, it's like when you see most trials, you see a little bit here and there, but it's like everything has damning implications for Lori. Now, on September the 30th, y'all, Alex's device is at Lori's apartment. On October 1st and 2nd, it stays in Alex's apartment the entire time. On October 3rd, Alex's device is back in Lori's apartment for the first time since September 30. Now let's break that down, because we know October 1st and 2nd, y'all, was the attempt on Brandon Boudreaux's life. So before that, his device is at Lori's apartment. But the days that Alex had to travel to go to Arizona, the day before and the day of the shooting of attempted murder on Brandon, it stays in Alex's apartment the entire time, which tells us all he was trying to go unnoticed, and he left his device in there so it would look like he was there. The day after, on the shooting attempt of Brandon Boudreaux, Alex's device is back in Lori's apartment for the first time since September 30th. So this shows quite clearly that Alex, he left his phone there when he went to try to take Brandon out. He was using those Walmart phones. We also know Chad talked to Alex before and after the attempt on Brandon Boudreaux's life. And it shows quite clearly that Alex is originally in Lori's apartment, and then after the attempt, he's back in Lori's apartment. This shows a meshing together of this conspiracy. Again, these people actually thought if they got burner phones that they were going to go undetected. Data points from Alex's phone was recorded at the Unified Sportsman's Gun Club in Rexburg on September the 3rd. Then it went to Walmart and back to the club. There was another visit to the gun range on September 26th and 27th. The device was also at the same gun range on September 28th for 2.5 hours. So when you think about September's 26th and 27th and 28th, you know he was practicing up to get ready to shoot at Brandon Boudreaux. But when you're looking at this Unified Sportsman's Gun Club in Rexburg on September the 3rd, that's about 5 days before Tylee Ryan is murdered. Some of the people on this channel believe that Tylee was shot, but they never found anything to corroborate that. No slugs, no gunshot residue, no shell casings or anything like that. Perhaps, maybe he was getting ready to shoot Tylee, or maybe he was getting ready to, just getting ready for this whole situation with Brandon Boudreaux. And then Tammy Daybell, he shot at her October 9th. Obviously, y'all, he's gone to this gun club and spent time there trying to shoot. He didn't do a good job of it for the attempt on Brandon's life, and he missed or whatever, or it was malfunction. And October the 9th, when he tried to shoot Tammy, I guess really in all reality, when he shot and killed Charles Vallow, they ambushed him and he was right up close to him. So that didn't take any skill. And it doesn't take any skill to walk up to them after they're laying flat on their back. Charles Vallow, the Arizona law enforcement says it looks like the trajectory, along with the way underneath Charles there. There's no skill at all to walk up and shoot somebody while they're lying flat on their back on the floor the second time. Well, Richard, the Rays and I were waiting on this trial. We didn't know that there was not going to be cameras in the courtroom, and then we were like wondering how were we going to cover this. Then we knew if we were going to have to go by audio, that's all day audio. How are we going to get together? Well, this kind of worked out the way it has. I had no idea this is what we were going to do. But Nate Eaton and Justin Lum have been incredible. And the Rays and I look at this as kind of like a double whammy. You get the blow-by-blow with Nate Eaton, and then in the evening you get the audio. So on October the 7th, that's 2 days before Tammy is shot at, Alex visited multiple gun ranges, according to the data points. He also went to two gun ranges on October 8th, the day before Tammy was shot at. And Nate lets us all know, remember, Tammy Daybell was shot at in her driveway on October the 9th of 2019. Yes, Jill Schneider, Nate Eaton, and Justin Lum. And by the way, I don't know if many of y'all know this, but over the weekend, Nate Eaton was with his wife, Erica. They went to a class that talked about the media and courts. And then they also went to an awards banquet thing that was taking place. And Nate received an award, y'all, on his coverage. So I thought that's pretty awesome. You can see all that on Nate Eaton's Sunday night Courtroom Insider. He talks about what he's learned about being a journalist, going into courtrooms and stuff. And also, he had been told by these experts and stuff to take care of his own mental health. And also he reminded everyone who's watching this trial to take care of our mental health as we listen to this graphic stuff. This is very heartbreaking, very depressing stuff. I think one thing that keeps a lot of us going is we want to see Lori's ass nailed to the wall, going to prison for the rest of her life, justice, however that unfolds. And I know these jurors, they're taking notes. They're really paying attention. I really think that this is an open and shut case, y'all. But just the specifics that have come out and are damning. But there are even more things the state didn't bring out that we know they've got empirical evidence about, whether they'll show it with someone else or whether they say there's just so much that we'll just focus on this much. You know what I mean? The bottom line is Lori's not getting out of this. Yes, I do believe that, Erna. Nate does need a national, I think he should get an Emmy in journalism, him and Justin Lum. All right, now listen to this, y'all. Alex visited a gun range, excuse me, on October the 12th. That was 3 days after Tammy was shot at, where he spent time around the 50-yard range. He went back on October 13th and spent time at the rifle range and pistol range on October 15th. So you're looking at the 12th of October, the 13th, and now the 15th of October. After he didn't succeed with Tammy on the 9th, Alex went to the shooting range twice. But between his visits to the shooting range, y'all, he went to his apartment. He went to Lori's apartment. He went to Walmart, y'all. And guess where else he went? He went to Chad Daybell's house. Very interesting. And you know why he went to Walmart. He either went there to get more ammo or more minutes for his burner phones, That was the last time, y'all, in October that Alex's device visited a gun range. Was on October the 15th. And during all that time, he's going to his apartment, to Lori's apartment, to Walmart. He's going to Chad Daybell's house. I guess they decided to not shoot Tammy. He put a lot of time and effort in this, and I guess it got to the point where Chad and Alex is up the street at the church. Hey, y'all, I wouldn't put it past Chad to have Alex up the street coming down there in the middle of the night to murder Tammy, because Lori and Chad didn't want to live with being the ones that did the hands-on stuff, don't you know? And not because they had a conscience, but because they were in this mindset that they were the king and queen and didn't have to do it. Rice said he was looking at gun range data because of gunman incident involving Tammy Daybell, the attempted shooting of Brandon, and the fact that a lot of guns and ammunition were found inside Lori's garage. And I guess Lori didn't know nothing about any of that either, did she? She didn't know before the murders. She didn't know after the murders. And she wasn't the principal offender, says Archibald in legal paperwork concerning Lori Daybell's alibi. Give me a break. Y'all, I got to grab me something to drink. Hold on just a minute. We're at KJ's house. Let me get something to drink. Tina Reddington says, this case is giving me a cramp in my butt. Well, y'all can imagine KJ sitting here. I do have like a feather pillow underneath my behind, my tushy. John Shepard says Lori was the sole instigator. I'm going to tell you what, folks. Make no mistake. Those children would have never been murdered had Lori had to absolutely say, yes, I believe this, or yes, I want the money. Yes, I just want to be alone with Chad and go on with my life. I know this is doesn't look good, or however she said it in the Summer Shiflett phone call there. Lori was knee deep in it all. And y'all know and I know that Tammy would have never been murdered had Chad not given the okay. What he wants people to believe, that his wife just slipped away. Yeah, I guess she slipped away after him and Alex and Lori tried for a little while there to, hope that she would get in a car accident, or hope that Alex wouldn't miss. Now, Ricky Wright says on October the 9th, there was a series of data points associated to Alex's phone at Sportsman's Warehouse in Ammon. Ricky Wright points out on the map where the data points were recorded inside the store. Charges are against him for the children too, right, says Amy in Boston. If you're talking about Chad, first-degree murder of the children. The only, and Alex is also implicated in this, but he's dead. The bottom line is Lori has not been charged with first-degree murder of Tammy Daybell. She's only been charged with conspiracy to commit murder of Tammy Daybell. But as far as the children, first-degree murder, conspiracy, Lori is charged, and Chad Daybell, first-degree murder and conspiracy. And he is also charged with conspiracy to commit murder on his wife and first-degree murder on his wife. If that all makes sense to y'all at all. And many of the Rays on here already knew that, but for those that don't, I'm just trying to clarify. Tina Reddington says Alex was their puppet. I believe that. He was their instrument of murder. Pure and simple. Alex had nothing to gain from doing this by himself. Alex wouldn't have done this for Chad behind Lori's back. Alex and Lori always conspired throughout their past bad acts. They always were together, joined at the hip. There's no way that a jury member can think anything other than what we're seeing unfold in front of our eyes, y'all. And again, I want to thank all of y'all for joining today. I'm sure a lot of y'all are probably doing different things. Maybe you're on the road right now. Maybe you're in your backyard sitting in a chair. Maybe you're folding laundry. Maybe you're fixing yourself something to eat. Or maybe you're at work or you work out of your home. Thanks for allowing KJ to be part of this with you. We have been seeking justice through understanding for over 2 years. And I'm just very, very humbled that y'all would allow me to be in this with all of y'all. I appreciate all the comments. I appreciate everything that y'all have put on the rewatches on this. That's very important to me because I can't think of it all. And I need the perspective of all these different people that are unique in their the way that they see through their own eyes. Now listen up, y'all. Wright went to the Sportsman's Warehouse and pulled all the receipts during the time period Alex was there. Ricky Wright says, one particular receipt caught my attention. There are around 60 receipts and most were paid with credit or debit cards. The one that caught Wright's attention was a cash receipt. There were 5 items on the receipt, including, y'all, a pair of Frog Tog rain pants. Including a pair of Frog Tog rain pants. Folks, could he have got, if they don't find these rain pants, could he have gotten those so that when he was doing what he was doing to Tylee, you see what I'm saying? That would, or was this for concealment purposes? You know, for him to go and try to take a shot at Tammy? I don't know what Frog Tog rain pants are. I'm assuming they're waterproof things. Maybe they have camo on them. I don't know. Maybe they'll tell us what those are. But if they don't find them in any of Alex's things, this would mean a lot, y'all. The property manager at Alex's apartment had a pair of Frog Tog pants in their possession. There was also, y'all, a ski mask, soft drink, and gloves on the receipt. So there you go, y'all. This confirms Alex got those Frog Tog pants with a cash. He paid cash for them. He also had the ski mask, which Tammy said there was someone with a ski mask, soft drink, and gloves on the receipt. Yes, THX. Basically waterproof wear. Dodging Bullet says 100% waterproof. Frog Tog. Okay. Thank y'all. Thank you, Bismo Funyuns. Thank y'all for Frog Tog or rainproofs, says Marvin. Thank y'all so much. Y'all are sure helping to educate me. I appreciate it. Love Blanche says, Dummy didn't throw the receipt away. No, he didn't. Now, the property manager, as we know, had those frog tog pants in their possession. When Ricky Wright was investigating at the store where he had gotten these, he learned a camo beanie listed on the receipt was no longer in stock, but all of the other items were. We now see photos on the screen showing the glove Alex purchased, not the exact glove, but one that was in the store when Wright visited. And y'all know that if it would have been the exact glove of Alex Cox, then they would have probably used that, which says to us he threw these gloves away, y'all. But the property managers say they still have the frog togs, whatever those are. Again, y'all said those are waterproofs. The glove has a mitten portion that you can pull over your fingers, or you can keep them off. If the mitten portion isn't folded over, you can use your fingers. Right, Janelle Murphy, makes sense. Anything they were probably wearing was thrown into the fire, I'm sure. You know, because remember when we heard when they went in there in Lori's garage and in her apartment after they left and said they found hazmat suits and stuff, the first thing I was thinking, are they going to find any blood on there? Well, the bottom line is that the only thing I can come up with on that is that at one time, Alex worked emptying porta potties. Maybe that's why he had that there. Because they haven't brought out that they found any DNA on the hazmat suits. We now see an image of the 3-hole ski mask Alex purchased, not the actual mask, but the same one that was inside the store when Wright investigated. And then now we see the frog tog pants that were purchased. Again, not the actual pants, but a pair that was inside the store when Wright visited. Wright says a number of searches were conducted on the Homer J. Maximus account on October 9th of 2019, which is the day he shot at Tammy. One search was frog tog sizing for pants. So this is corroborating evidence that through this cash payment, Alex Cox purchased those. The property manager said they had those. And now you have a search, which is another way to corroborate that Alex did, in fact, get these. And he's looking on a search for the sizing of the pants. You know, Ashi Tamsai, or however you say your name, I'm not sure if Tylee was ever around Chad Daybell before she was murdered. But it's been confirmed that JJ was around Chad, because Chad took him upstairs by himself and came back down with a scratch on Chad Daybell's neck. So now we know that Lori brought Chad around JJ. I don't know. I mean, was there any testimony at all that Tylee had met Chad Daybell? It's a good question. Beach bum, whatever you're going through, hon, I hope you're all right. PJ Keith Chad did stay at the Arizona house the weekend that Charles wasn't there, but I don't think Lori had the kids there either. I'm pretty sure the kids weren't there because they all just got up and went to conferences and did all that stuff. And there was never any talk that the kids were there when Chad was there the weekend Charles Vallow wasn't there. But that's a good guess there. Waiting on a refresh. Don't y'all find it interesting that Alex Cox, this has been brought out by Mandy Pohl, I think. She says Alex the Frog. Well, don't y'all think Chad looks like a frog? He looks like a dang zombie, sling blade looking toad. Nasty. Disgusting. Just the thought of Lori. Ugh. And him getting together, ugh, that's disgusting. Sugar Butt Starburst says, sickening. I know, KJ probably shouldn't make y'all sick before lunch. Mr. Potato Head says, Michelle Turcotte. Poor toads, says John Shepherd. Yeah, frogs and toads are kind of cute. Every so often, my cats will bring a live one in here in the house. It's either they bring them in, they don't hurt them, they just bring them in and play with them, and I have to put them back out. And also, they brought live snakes in the house. No poisonous ones. October the 9th, Alex's device left Sportsman's Warehouse at 4:12 p.m. and traveled north from Ammon to the vicinity of Chad's house. It didn't stop, but drives by and continues onto Highway 20. The driver turns around and drives past the Daybell residence again before returning to Alex's apartment by 5:16 p.m. The device remains at the apartment until 11:28 a.m. I'm assuming is that a.m. the next morning, or maybe he meant to say the device remains at the apartment from 5:16 p.m. to 11:28 p.m. You know, like that evening. Oh, it says the next day. Never mind. The device remains at the apartment until 11:28 a.m. the next day, which proves to us that Alex left it in there because we know that he took his burner back up there to the church overnight on the 18th and 19th of Tammy's murder of October. It's hard sometimes keeping these dates together, y'all. Now, a map is shown on the big screen, and Wright uses a laser pointer to show the spots where data points were recorded by Alex's phone the evening of October 9th. Now, we're talking about the attempt on Tammy's life right now. Now, THX says, so all of this evidence is showing Lori didn't do anything. THX, some people are forgetting this. The morning of Tylee being taken out to Chad's, you got Lori and Chad on the phone for several minutes. Then you look at the evidence of the twisted nature of Lori and Alex's relationship and how they worked hand in hand on a lot of things. I see it clearly. It's not a reach. Because if you see Alex Cox in any of this, or Chad Daybell in any of this, Lori was so far up Chad Daybell's ass, and she had Alex doing everything for her. the evidence in Summer Shiflett's phone call, Kobe Bryant's. Think about, I mean, you got to look, you got to put it all together. It's not about Lori being there when Tammy Daybell is being shot at. Again, Lori can conspire that Alex is going to try to murder Tammy on October 9th, and he's the one that does the overt act in continuance of this plan to murder Tammy, i.e., going to the gun ranges, going to Walmart, getting the burner phones, actually shooting at her, getting the tent. The fact that they obviously are going to have to put in here on Lori's iCloud account on October the 7th of 2019. Y'all, why is Lori taking pictures of ammo on the shelf? Is this a coincidence? I don't think so. And it hadn't been brought out yet, but it should. That's right, Miss DMC. She's interwoven in all of it. Conspiracy does not mean that you've got to be the one shooting at anybody or purchasing anything. You just have to be the one with two or more people. They conspire together. And Alex Cox would have never just conspired with Chad to do this to Tammy. Lori wanted it to happen. How was she going to marry Chad? She'd already got the wedding dress. She already got the malachite rings. She wanted more money. Chad needed money. $4,000 a month ain't gonna damn do it for the king and queen, don't you know? A data point is recorded at a canal behind Chad's house, y'all. The road is fairly narrow and there is no shoulder. I was looking for a possible location where this person could have gone, or if there was a vehicle nearby where it may have parked. And remember that, y'all. Remember, we're like, how could he have just that openness behind Chad's house and it right across the street from his house is these neighbors? Where could he have come in at, y'all? This dang witness is telling everybody the road is fairly narrow and there is no shoulder. I was looking for possible locations where this person, Alex Cox, could have gone, or if there was a vehicle nearby where it might have parked. There really was no place for a vehicle. But right here, near this canal, there's a little pull-off that would fit one vehicle. And besides that, y'all, if that vehicle wasn't parked in this little place that they're talking about and there was a canal, what if Lori had taken Alex down there and dropped his ass off at the canal? She didn't have to have her phone with her or anything. Makes sense? Back to the cell phones Alex bought at Walmart. He bought one on October 8th, but it was not activated until October 9th at 1:20 p.m. 10 messages were sent between this device and Chad Daybell between 7:13 p.m. and 10:30 p.m. So imagine that. Chad, she just slipped away, did she? Chad is talking to Alex. Alex has already gone by like a vulture during that time, around 4-ish, 5-ish. He's getting himself psyched up. He's gone to the gun ranges. He's already set up the burner phones, but he doesn't activate them till that day. And 10 messages were sent between that device and Chad Daybell between 7:13 p.m. and 10:30 p.m. while Alex's other phone was recorded at staying at his apartment the entire night. The new phone was texting Chad. So you see this. And THX, you talk about it. What does this have to do with Lori? Well, do you really want to look at all this evidence and say Lori was completely left in the dark of all of this? That Alex and Chad did all this behind Lori's back, that Lori didn't have a clue that Tammy was going to be taken out. Her kids were already murdered. She wasn't asking where they were at. You think she was not saying to Chad, my kids are gone. We've already started talking about Viola and Julie Rowe knocking on the door and all this stuff. It all fits into place. It all fits in place, y'all. She's told Sylvia. Yes, Bumblebee, she was. She was right in the middle of it all. The cell phone carrier did not keep the text messages, and nothing was able to be traced from the new phone. Blaze suggests we take a lunch break because she's at a good stopping point. We will be back in about an hour, y'all. So we'll be here back in an hour. Let's absorb everything. Let's get us something to eat so we can get through the afternoon. Get your chores done. Get your errands run. I love you all. We'll see you back in 1 hour, folks. So keep on looking.